guys, welcome in. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. Rob Kendall Show. We got so much to get to today. Republican convention delegates, the common sense ones, are in a panic over the realization that Diego Morales is likely going to be their nominee for Secretary of State. And we got to talk about some of these phone calls I've been getting. And we're going to talk about this article I got coming out in the Star tomorrow, previewing what the next 5 months would look like with Diego Morales as the Republican Party nominee at the top of the ticket. This is what these delegates are really concerned about. We'll get into all of that in just a little bit. But first, can we talk about how ridiculous it is? These politicians, they're at the White House celebrating IU football like they did something about it. Like, I saw all these politicians there yesterday, including a bunch of them who were up the backside of Indiana University for years about what a horrible, rotten place it is. So bad, in fact, that they had to give the governor unlimited ability just to appoint all the trustees. They have been some of the biggest critics of IU. And then yesterday, I see all of these people at the White House taking photo ops. That is, these people are shameless. They have no shame whatsoever. Most of them can't stand Indiana University. And then when the opportunity to get a photo at the White House comes up, hey, look at us. We love IU. Indiana, we're all for you, baby. These people are just the absolute worst. The other thing that is becoming abundantly clear to me, one of the top priorities next legislative session, not going to be your property taxes, not going to be your utility bills, not going to be cleaning up corruption at the IEDC, not going to be making sure we finally get all the freeloaders off the Medicaid. It's going to be closing the primaries. That is going to be a top priority for the Republicans. That's going to be one of the top issues, is closing the primaries. I saw Andrew Ireland, because somehow Andrew Ireland was at the White House yesterday. Like, when you think of people who have been the biggest supporters of IU, don't you first think Andrew Ireland? And he's bragging about, he's meeting with somebody at the White House, and he goes, talking about closed primaries at the White House. Think about that. You're a state rep with record property taxes, record utility bills. The governor's proposed raising taxes by $6.5 billion on tolling. Taxes are going up on tolling already on I-80 to pay for the Bears Stadium. We have one of the highest gas taxes in the nation when it's not suspended, which beginning next month it won't be again. Massive corruption at the IEDC. The endless list of things that are screwing Hoosiers on a regular basis. And you're bragging that you met with the White House about closing our primaries. What the hell does the White House have to do with closing our primaries? You're the state rep. If you want it, do it. These people have no shame. The politics are all that matter. And now in the culture we live in the social media culture, the photo op and the optics are more important than doing anything for you. Think about that. You're a state rep. You have a meeting with the White House. There's a million things you could talk to them about. And you're bragging about you took that opportunity to talk about closing the primaries. How the hell does that make anybody's life better? No, look, I get it, Andrew. You're mad because your gal, Paula Copenhaver, may lose by a couple votes. We'll get to the update on that in a second. I get that. And this is what the Republicans do. Remember, they tried to do this a couple years ago when Rainwater got all those votes. They tried to change how libertarians get nominated. This is what Republicans do. Now, of course, Republicans, not all that long ago, took full advantage of an open primary system when they all crossed over to vote for Hillary against Obama, and everybody thought that was real funny then. Now it happens to them. Oh, we got to do something about this. For years and years and years, the libertarians were a big joke until Rainwater got almost 12% of the vote. And then there was actually a bill presented to change how the libertarians nominate their candidates. This is what Republicans do. They didn't like that a bunch of outsiders were being able to run and win public office. What they do, they changed the primary rule. It's never a focus on things that matter to you. You had the ear of the White House, and you chose to waste that time on closing our primaries, and you're bragging about it on social media? These people, they're shameful and they're shameless. All right. Before we get to what Republican delegates are saying and the Republican delegates, there are a large portion of them that it's starting to hit them that Diego is likely, the way the system is being rigged in favor of Diego, that they are starting to realize he's going to be the nominee again. And they are freaking out about it because they know what's likely to happen. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But first, let's talk about our fabulous new sponsor here on the Rob Kendall Show. You've heard about them for years over on State House Happenings, and that is the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro located in beautiful Brazil. Now, Brazil, little out of the way, right? You can get there on 40. You can get there on 70. Little out of the way. Pretty easy to get to, though, but totally worth the trip. The Honeysuckle Hill Bistro is located with a beautiful scenic water view, and you can sit outside. You can sit on the patio. Jason and I have been there before. I've been there many times, but it is outstanding. We'll ask Jason later in the show. He's been there before. It is outstanding. It is an outstanding opportunity to have a fabulous meal and get away. Like I said, provides that perfect outdoor seating right on the water. Peaceful. You can relax, breathe, and enjoy a made-from-scratch meal. Or as they like to call it there at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, Hoosier Grub. The Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, if you go, you can choose whatever you want, but they invite you to try their Hoosier breaded tenderloin, which, with all modesty, they believe is the best in the state. And you can't leave without trying one of their dessert pies made from scratch. Down-home food made with love, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. They're so Hoosier hospitality. The restaurant located in the house of the owners, Andy and Jody. How about that, right? They're open on Friday and Saturday for dinner. Sundays for brunch buffet. Reserve your spot today and try something
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell
812-443-3003. You can see everything for yourself. Just put into your little Google machine there, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. It'll pop right up. See everything for yourself. Okay, let's get to the phone calls that I have been receiving. And I have told you guys for a while now, I think the Republican machine in Indiana is dead set on renominating Diego Morales to be their Secretary of State candidate. And I think the reason for this is a couple of things. Number one, I think it's that outside of central Indiana, where the media doesn't do a great job of covering the state house, a lot of people have no idea about Diego Morales. I just think when you get outside about a 20-county area, the donut counties, the counties that surround them, there's very little understanding of what a complete scumbag Diego Morales is. And I think in many places that end in Ville or Berg, he goes to these Lincoln Day dinners and he hands people their plates as they're going through the buffet line, and he goes and shakes hands, and he just gets away with it. I think people think he's a totally likable, good person because the media in these little towns and cities do not cover the repeated scandals that appear to be a part of Diego's DNA. Now, the people in central Indiana, they know. They're very aware. I mean, if you think back to 2022, and this was without 4 years of, well, what we call governance to talk about, and it's been one scandal after another with Diego. But even 4 years ago, the people of central Indiana knew who Diego was, and that's why Jeff Moore, who was the Libertarian nominee for Secretary of State, got almost 6% of the vote. Most of it came from central Indiana. In fact, he did about 10% in central Indiana because they were protest votes against Diego. The people who know Diego can't stand Diego because they know what he is. Everybody who knows Diego knows what he is. But when you couple the fact that there are so many of these areas that they don't get informed about it, they don't get the news about it, they don't read the stories about it, there are county party chairmen who are appointing delegates to the state convention who they know will vote for Diego. So the way this works is, you guys know that people run for delegate. There are winners of those races, but in some counties, they don't get enough people to run. That's not a problem here in central Indiana for the most part. It is a problem in a lot of other counties, especially the ones outside of central Indiana. And these county chairmen, and even some here in central Indiana, just based on how the counties are structured, the party chairman gets to appoint essentially whoever they want to fill those delegate slots. And a lot of those party chairmen are appointing people with the express purpose, you will vote for Diego. The reason these people like Diego, the people in the know like Diego, well, they don't really like Diego, but stand behind Diego, is the money. Look at the money that touches Diego in a meaningful fashion, and then look at how much of that money goes to other prominent politicians in our state. You do the research on it. Our guy, Indy reporter, has done that many times. In fact, we may have to have him back on to talk about the specifics of what I'm referencing here. It's amazing how much of the money that flows into Diego Morales is also flowing to other prominent politicians, high-profile, powerful people in the state of Indiana. The support of Diego is about money. And the real concern that if Diego goes down, the money that will be choked off. And it's just easier not to deal with that premise, that prospect. But they all know what he is. And so my point of all this is I have received multiple calls over the past couple days of delegates from different counties not connected into each other who are saying the same thing. What's going to happen if this guy is the nominee? Because they recognize that while Diego may be able to fool the Republican electorate at the convention, or the people in the know may not want to take him on because they don't want to lose the donations, the delegates who have some decency about them know that Bray, the likely Democrat nominee, is going to spend a war chest full of money, probably more than $10 million when it's all said and done, plastering this state with ads about all the Diego scandals. You think the Bays don't know who paid for that trip to India? You think they're going to hesitate to tell everyone? You think the Bays aren't going to run ads about the no-bid contracts of people who gave huge money to Diego's campaign? You think they're not going to mention the $90,000 car? You think they're not going to mention the ad using taxpayer resources with the Marion County election, that the Marion County Election Board has now referred to the Inspector General? The hiring of family members, the sweetheart raises, all of this stuff. You guys know all about these things because you're informed people. You think the Bays, look, the Bays aren't losing this race, okay? They've had this plan for a long time. They've been plotting getting Junior in there for years and years and years. They didn't fall off the turnip truck. Everybody knows what's going on here. They are not going down. This is about reclaiming the family dynasty, and this is about bringing the Democrats back to some level of respectability, not prominence. I don't think the Democrats are capable of prominence in this state anymore, but some level of respectability. Bray, if he wins this race, becomes the face of not only the Democrats in Indiana, but he becomes a player nationally. They're not losing. And they will do whatever it takes and spend whatever amount of money it takes to get him in that office. You couple that with a very real prospect that Greg Ballard is going to get the 37,000 verified signatures and is going to be on the ballot. And Greg Ballard will also have, he's already raised more than $300,000 and he's not even on the ballot. $300,000 and he isn't even running for office yet. Greg Ballard's easily going to raise seven figures, well over $1 million. Probably several $1 million. And Greg Ballard will be running ads also talking about the incompetency and the corruption and the unethical behavior of Diego Morales. And Greg Ballard is going to run as a safe harbor for people who can't stand Diego, but also won't vote for a Democrat. And there's a lot of really smart people who are delegates to the Republican convention in June in Fort Wayne who are hitting the panic button now because they know the odds are stacked in Diego Morales' favor. I've heard it. I've heard it from so many people, in fact, that I wrote a whole article about it. I think it's coming out tomorrow in the Star about just this, about the very real prospect of what happens if Diego Morales is the Republican nominee. And the prospects are this. And I'll go into a lot more detail on this in the article in the Star tomorrow. There's two things at play with Ballard that are going to have lasting impacts on our state. Number one, if he gets 2% of the vote, now, of course, he has to get the signatures first, but the fact that he was past 20,000 with 2 months to go, that's a pretty good sign. He has enough money that's been raised. He raised $300,000. It's more than enough to pay the people to get the signatures, which that's what he's doing. He's paying an organization to go out and get these signatures for him. I saw him the other day at the Walmart. People told me that they were at the Kroger and saw it too. So, I mean, they're in Brownsburg. They're in Brownsburg, right? I'm sure they're going to all these communities trying to get these signatures. And so I would be floored if Ballard does not end up on the ballot. And if Greg Ballard is on the ballot, that would be a shocking embarrassment for the establishment wing of the Republican Party, who are the ones backing Ballard. There are some Democrats too, but it is mostly the old order establishment people who are behind the Ballard campaign. I would be floored if those people would allow themselves to be embarrassed and he didn't get those signatures. So I'm putting him on the ballot. And if Greg Ballard's on the ballot, there is not a universe that exists with, and again, we're operating from a state where Diego's the nominee in all of these descriptions here. If by some chance Diego is not, then this all changes. But there's not a universe where Greg Ballard is on the ballot and Diego Morales is on the ballot and Greg Ballard doesn't get 2% of the vote. There's not a world that exists where that doesn't happen. And what that means is the Lincoln Party, which Ballard is trying to form, will have general election ballot access, which means going forward in elections, just like the Libertarians, provided the Libertarians also get the 2% this year, you'll have another party to choose from in the general elections. They'll nominate their candidates privately at conventions like the Libertarians do. But there's a likelihood that Ballard not only gets the 2%, but that he blows past 10%. And that is what is really concerning the delegates. Because if Ballard gets the 10%, 10% means primary ballot access. It means in your primary, when you go to pull a ballot, well, unless they close the primaries, which they'll certainly try to do if the Lincoln Party has primary ballot access. But as of right now, if all things stay as they are, when you go to vote in the primary, the lady at the clerk or the guy, the man, the clerk asks you, do you want a Republican or Democrat ballot? Now they would ask you, do you want a Republican, Democrat, or Lincoln Party ballot? The amount of earned, of subsidized advertising that the Lincoln Party would get having primary ballot access in the tens of millions. And what that means is having primaries is free advertising, earned media people cover you at your events, you're running, you go places, etc. It would dramatically increase the quality of candidate that the Lincoln Party would be able to attract and the amount of money they would be able to raise and their standing with the electorate. And you're looking at a 2028 where you could have the Lincoln Party on the ballot, primary ballot access, dramatically disrupting the races of governor, senator, attorney general, and congressional candidates. All because Greg Ballard got the 10% in the Secretary of State race, which you have to get primary ballot access. You're talking about potentially getting some real players, people who They're not going to run as libertarians because, and I love my libertarian friends, but you got a lot of squirrels in that party. There's some really good libertarians. There's some really nice libertarians that run for public office. I think Rainwater was a good candidate in 2020. I think Jeff Moore was a great candidate in 2022 for Secretary of State. I think previous candidates like Mark Rutherford for Secretary of State have done fine. But there's a lot of squirrels, and there's a lot of people who under no circumstance are going to affiliate themselves with the Libertarian Party. They would, however, especially with primary ballot access, affiliate themselves with the Lincoln Party, with Ballard as the face. And so you're looking at a very real world with Diego Morales and Greg Ballard, where the Lincoln Party Ballard pulls enough votes from Diego that the Lincoln Party gets that primary ballot access and for the next 4 years is able to disrupt Republicans up and down the ballot. These are what the delegates are telling me. I'm hearing it from people all over the state who are calling me talking about this. And again, these are people who think Diego's going to win. We'll talk about that here in a second. They're petrified. The other reality, same thing I'm hearing from the delegates. If Ballard pulls more than 10%, the overwhelming majority of that is going to be from Republicans. Diego Morales won by 257,000 votes 4 years ago. And he did that. That's not a lot of votes, guys, by the way. It's not a lot of votes. It's, 129,000 people changing their mind. Like if it were a two-person race, it's 129,000 people changing their mind. It's not that much in a state of 7 million people. And Diego only won by 257,000 votes with a highly unlikable radical left Democrat who struggled to fundraise in Destiny Wells as the Democrat nominee. Destiny Wells, now a 4-time loser. She's never been close. I mean, I guess you could technically say she was within a few votes when she ran for party chair, but there's not many people that vote. Substitute Destiny Wells with a well-funded, moderate, non-controversial Bo Bai. The name. Look, there's a lot of people that'll vote for him just because he's a likable guy. He's not controversial. Good-looking dude. His last name's Bai. People remember the Bai family fondly. There's a lot of moderate Republicans who either would have not think twice, even if Ballard doesn't get on voting for Bai. But certainly with Bai and Ballard in there, there's a whole lot of Republicans or independents or people who just yearn for nostalgia who are going to vote either Democrat or for the independent. There's a very real world where Bai wins the election without 45% of the vote. Wouldn't shock me at all to see Bai at 43, Diego at 40, Ballard at 15, Schilling's the Libertarian at 2. I mean, I'm not using anything scientific on that. I'm just saying, like, these are the conversations I'm hearing, and there are people calling me from all over the state who recognize there is a strong chance Diego's going to be the party's nominee and what that means because they're actually Republicans. These people actually want the Republicans to win. Me, I don't really care anymore. I'm a Republican, but the Republicans, they go to the White House and they talk about closing the primaries. That's what they do with their time. What does that do for me? The reality is the people that are Republicans who still care about the Republican Party, they know what Diego is. They know he will be exposed. They know that he can lie and manipulate his way and deceive his way through the delegates. He won't be able to do that through Bai and Ballard. And so there is actively whispers about trying to find another candidate to run against Diego. Now, David Shelton is the primary competition for Diego. He's the Knox County clerk. We've had Shelton on this show. Shelton would be a very good Secretary of State. He has all the qualifications. He's administered elections. He's caught voters committing fraud. He's done all the things. He's perfectly qualified. He goes in, he does his job. He's also boring as hell. And these people that I've talked to, the delegates, they're actual delegates, they'll be voting for Shelton. They've said, this guy doesn't have the fire to take down Diego. With scumbags like Morales, you have to hit him in the mouth. Not literally. I mean, that would be really punching down. You don't want to punch down. You have to, but from a political standpoint, you have to land body blows. You have to expose to the people who these people are, exactly what they're doing. You have to say it everywhere you go. When you're in a room with them, you got to look at him and you got to say it in front of everyone. All the stuff. And he melts down every time you do it. I know. All I did was walk up to the guy and talk to him without anybody paying attention, and then there was a whole group of people paying attention, and he freaked out at the Clay County Lincoln Day. He was so pissed off to the point when it was his time to speak to everyone, he starts screaming the stuff, right? I pay for India. I pay. And people are like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, Clay County's barely in WIBC's listening area. Most people don't have any idea what that is, but they do now. Diego melts down every time you press him, and these delegates see this, right? They know this. Shelton has not shown that fire so far at these Lincoln Days, in these events. And again, this is what I'm hearing. I like David Shelton. I would have zero problem voting for him if I were a Republican delegate. I mean, I would vote for an orange peel over Diego. But my point is, I want somebody who's qualified. See, that's the thing about all of these positions. Treasurer, comptroller, Secretary of State. They're administrative positions. They're not supposed to be political. Your job is to administer the will of the General Assembly. Not go out and use your office as a 24/7 campaign machine, not try to grab headlines, not waste taxpayer money, not be in the legalized vote buying business. Your job is to do the job the General Assembly says. It's an administrative position. And so right now, there are delegates out there who are actively trying to recruit other people. I think they've got some pretty good names. I don't know whether those people say yes or not. I don't know. They're not really people who would talk to me. But I've heard this over and over again, so much so that I'm writing a pretty lengthy article. I think it's supposed to come out tomorrow in the Star about what the next several months actually look like, and then what the future, the next 4 years, most importantly, look like if the Republicans stay with Diego Morales, and I think they're going to. I think the Republicans are going to renominate Diego. Look, and I go into this in the article. It'll be great for me. It'll be great for my business. Like, having 5 months to talk about this guy and comment on the ads that Bray and Ballard are going to run, fabulous. It'll be great for me as someone who believes we got to break up the cabal, the Republican cabal. I say this as a Republican. The Republicans are only going to change when they fear losing elections. And the only way they'll fear losing elections is if they start losing elections. These people are arrogant. And the only way they're going to lose is that we have a viable third party in there to start peeling off some votes when Republicans don't govern like Republicans. So I've told people, everyone should sign that petition. I'm not telling you to vote for Ballard. I'm not endorsing Ballard. I have no idea who I'm going to vote for. I want to see the campaign. But everyone should totally sign that petition if you get asked to get him on the ballot. I'm fine with Diego being the nominee from a job standpoint. I'm actually fine with Diego being the nominee from a what'll be the best thing for the long-term standpoint. But as someone who loves my state, as someone who is a lifelong Hoosier, who cares about Indiana and good government far more than my job, clearly we found that out, right? The faster you can get rid of Diego Morales, the better. And if the Republicans can do it at convention, good on them. That guy is a human sleazebag. And the Republican Party appears to just be saying, give me more of it. Hey, is your driveway showing signs of wear Freeze-thaw cycles, road salts, environmental buildup like mold and dirt, all can cause unsightly damage that can end up in expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. The clean, seal, and stain professionals. They can help protect almost all your outdoor surfaces. And they do more than just concrete. They do all the concrete, the driveways, the patios, the sidewalks, all of those things. They do them. But they also do decks and fences and pergolas, pretty much any outdoor wood or concrete structure that needs cleaned or maintained. Seal Now can do it. Call today, 317-548-2002, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com, SEALNOW.com. At sealnow.com, you'll see some of the great work they do, how they can bring your project back to life. They'll give you an estimate on what your project's going to cost. And then, on top of all that, if you say, hey, I heard about you guys on the Rob Kendall Show, they're going to take 20% off any long-term project. Long-term ceiling project. 20% off any long-term ceiling project. 20% off any long-term ceiling project just by mentioning you heard about them on the Rob Kendall Show. Seal Now, SEALNOW.com. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, that Spencer Deery Senate race is down to 2 votes. And there's 3 votes still left to determine. This is like a made-for-TV movie type of deal. We'll tell you the latest on that. Plus, article in the Star about how much money nonprofit hospitals are actually making. You'll want to puke when we tell you. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. A couple of housekeeping items before we get to this Senate race that is now down to just 2 votes with 3 votes to go. A couple of items. Number 1, if you haven't done so yet, hit the like button. That is a little thing that goes a super long way helping us grow this program. Hit the little thumbs up button. It helps us immensely. Also, share the feed. Share the feed. If you got a Facebook, if you got a Twitter, that's how we get the word out. People love us when they find us. Unfortunately, without some gigantic advertising budget, we are dependent upon you guys to help us grow this program. Share the feed, Facebook, Twitter, wherever it's at. Let people know about us. And last, if you haven't done so yet, we're closing in on 3,000. We're closing in on 3,000 subscribers. Help us get there. Subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the program, welcome. Those are the three things you can do. We call them like, we call them share, we call them subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. That's how you can help us grow. If you haven't done so yet, some point today, head over to robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. Two things you can do there that'll really help us out as well. First of all, we got a support button up. If you like this program, if you enjoy getting great news and Indiana news and politics and government, most of it pretty much 3 hours a day. We throw some national stuff in there too, but we are the place. We are the only people doing this where every day you can get multiple hours of Indiana news, politics, and government. Take some ownership in it with us. You can hit that support button, whether it's $1, $10, $10,000, whatever it is. It all really helps us. Our guy Dave, superfan Dave, hit that support button yesterday. Thank you, Dave, for being a part of the program with us. Also at robkendallshow.com, we have a one-man live show coming up June the 27th. I'm going to rock your socks off. We're going to tear the house down, and it really is an evening to celebrate you guys. An evening for me and for Jason to say thank you for helping us grow this program. This podcast is doing gangbuster numbers, man. We just it has exploded in growth. You guys have been amazing. And that's what the live show is going to be. June the 27th, a chance for everyone to get together. So many of you become friends with people in the YouTube chat. It's been a community. It's become a home for you. It's a chance for everyone to get together, spend an evening of fun and laughs, and we're going to bring the heat on the politicians. June the 27th, you can get your tickets at robkendallshow.com. We got a link up at the top of the page where you can get your tickets. Also, if you just want to bypass that, madhattershows.com, MADHATTER shows.com. It's at Mad Hatter Comedy Club and Event Center in Greenwood. It's going to be a rocking good evening. We look forward to seeing you there. Don't wait. Get your tickets today, robkendallshow.com. All right, we're going to talk about this Spencer Deery. Oh, I got to thank our guy, John Rust. Thank you to John Rust. We are now 3 hours. We started that last week. That's thanks to John. John generously agreed to support the third hour, and it's because of him that we're able to now bring you this extra hour of Indiana news, politics, and government with some national thrown in there as well. Thanks to John Rust for doing that for us. Hey, don't leave your biggest investment to chance. Work with Lauren Wilson, a realtor who's Hoosier through and through. Lauren's a military vet and dedicated to a higher standard of service. Buying a home, selling a home, it's all about starting the next chapter, and that's where Lauren Wilson comes in. She wants to give you the attention to detail necessary to make that chapter memorable and special. Big life changes. That's what buying and selling a house is. Lauren Wilson gets that. Get a plan together today. You don't have to wait. Even if you're not buying or selling now, get somebody in your corner. You can sit down with Lauren. She'll map out that plan with you so that when you're ready to pull that trigger, you know what you want to do, you know where you want to do it, and you know who you want to do it with. Lauren Wilson with At Properties. 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. All right. This Spencer Deery, Paula Copenhaver race. Fascinating. It's down to 2 votes with 3 votes remaining. So let me explain to you a little bit about how this works. And you know, our goal here is we want to entertain you. We also want to educate you, make you more informed citizens so you can go out and explain things to people and hopefully get more people to want to be involved. And so this is an opportunity for us to do just that. So Spencer Deery is an incumbent senator. He's from Lafayette. His district stretches about 6 counties, and he's got parts of 6 counties in his district. He was up for re-election this year. He was challenged in a primary by a woman by the name of Paula Copenhaver. She worked for Todd Rokita and then left abruptly. She doesn't really want to talk about why she left abruptly. You should ask her if you ever see her out. Why did you leave Todd's office so quickly? And then she went to work for Micah Beckwith. She is endorsed by the Trump Turning Point USA group, and they made Spencer Deery a top target because they hate Mitch Daniels. Spencer Deery is a Mitch Daniels guy. This is one of the things that really frustrates me because Spencer Deery is actually pretty darn conservative, and he's somewhat independent. He is fiercely pro-life. He voted against the property tax bill. I'm not endorsing Spencer Deery or telling anybody you should have voted for Spencer Deery, but it is pretty frustrating when you see the top 3 targets that the Turning Point and Trump people went after. It was about people they hate. They hate Bray, so they went after Holdman. They hate Mitch Daniels, so they went after Spencer Deery. And a lot of the stuff going after Deery was because Jim Banks hates Mitch Daniels. And the third one was Greg Good because they hate Todd Young. And we've talked about at length, there were two very different results between Greg Good and Travis Holdman. Holdman lost miserably, Good won easily because the election had nothing to do with redistricting. And in the middle is Spencer Deery. Spencer Deery, as of right now, is winning his election against Paula Copenhaver by 2 votes. 2 votes. He was winning by 4 at the end of the election. Now they're counting what they call provisional ballots. And with the first set of provisional ballots being counted, his lead is down to 2 votes. There are 3 provisional ballots that remain in other counties that are yet to be calculated. Let's talk a little bit about, by the way, the total. 6,335 to 6,331 at the start. It's now down to 2. That's how close this election is. When people tell you your vote doesn't count, point them to this race. Well, there's no point in voting. Point them to this. So, District 23 is this district. As I said, District 23 is 6 counties, parts of 6 counties. And a provisional ballot, and by the way, the Indiana Capitol Chronicle has a big article about this if you want to read it. They do a nice job going into detail about the provisional ballots. A provisional ballot is where a person is allowed to cast their ballot even if it's unclear they're qualified to vote in the precinct. So like there's some speculation about your address. Do you live there? Are you registered to vote there? Well, we don't know. Okay, go ahead and let them cast the ballot. We'll set it aside. We'll deal with it later if it matters. Normally, it never gets challenged because the races aren't close enough, right? Any race that's 100 votes or more for something like Senate or House, probably not going to get called into question because it's not going to change the there's not enough provisional ballots to change the outcome of the election. In this case, obviously, every vote matters, so they're under scrutiny. And the voter, after the election, has 10 days to give the county election board any required documentation or complete an affidavit about legal expectations, exceptions. Combined with the mail-in ballot, so there are also a couple mail-in ballots that needed to be counted, like military people who sent their ballots in overseas. They had been sent at the correct time. They hadn't been received as of election day, so they needed to be counted. So all in, yesterday, Deery gained 1 vote in Fountain County, which is where Copenhaver's from. Copenhaver got 2, so she picked up 1 there. Copenhaver then picked up 1 more vote in Morgan County. So she got 2 collectively, 3 total. Deery got 1, she net 2. There are 2 ballots out in Tippecanoe County, provisional ballots that remain to be unsealed. Deery won Tippecanoe County by a 2-1 margin. So one would think, although you have no idea, that there's a good chance those provisional ballots, if they're counted, might favor him, or they could ultimately get tossed out and not favor anyone. But if they did get counted, there's a good chance you might think they would favor him. That election board's going to meet at 1 p.m. on Friday to review those provisional ballots. And then Park County has 1 provisional ballot, and that is scheduled for 10 a.m. on Wednesday. So basically, by 2 p.m. on Friday, we should have a final count in this race. Now, candidates have until noon on May the 19th to file a verified recount or contest petition. County chairmen have until May 22nd, according to Indiana's Elections Division. Now, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I don't think Indiana has an automatic recount, which means if you file the petition, you have to pay for the recount. So let's say Copenhaver ends up still 2 votes short. Obviously, Deery wouldn't file for a recount. It would have to be Copenhaver. Copenhaver would say, I want a recount. Then, as my understanding, she would, or her campaign would, have to pay for the recount. If for some reason she didn't, which I think she would, then a county chairman could pay for or call for a recount, and I believe they would have to pay for it. The party would have to pay for the recount. But I don't believe taxpayers are on the... Somebody, if that's wrong, somebody correct me. I'm sure somebody will. You know, I get the good jobs. It takes 9 weeks to get the good jobs. It takes me about 30 seconds to get the, you screwed something up. That's not right. So I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong on that. And then I'll let you guys know. Hey, you guys got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY.com, your foundation, masonry, and chimney specialists. Let's talk about this article from Michael Hicks. By the way, do you guys like the chair better? Let me know in the YouTube chat. We switched it up today. I told you guys after yesterday, I said it's just too hard for me to sit for 3 hours without being able to get up and walk around and have the news and the weather and the more news and the weather and like very few pre-recorded interviews. It's very hard for me to just sit there like that for 3 hours. I'm going to like lose my skeletal frame is going to collapse. So I said, I got to go back to the chair. And you guys said, that seems like it'd probably be better. What do you guys think? Let me know in the YouTube chat. By the way, if you're new to the program, welcome. In order to comment, we have a great YouTube chat. Awesome group of people. In order to be a part of the YouTube chat, you do have to be a subscriber. So if you've been on the fence about subscribing, my goal by the end of the week, I'm setting a very lofty goal. By the end of the day, Sunday, I want to be at 3,000 subscribers. So if you haven't done so yet, help us do that. Tell your friends, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to that magical 3,000 number. And when people subscribe, they can be in the YouTube chat. You can have fun conversations upon fun listening, and we give this all to you free of charge. All right. There was an interesting article in the Indy Star by a guy I don't agree with a lot, but I thought this article was spot on. And that is a guy by the name of Michael Hicks. Michael Hicks is a Ball State professor, economist, economics professor, and he writes stuff all the time that I think he is full of it. I think he's full of something other than it, but that's the word I'll use for right now. I got to get really mad to swear, and I'm not really mad about this. So I think he's full of it a lot of the time. But this article I thought was really well done, and to encourage everybody to go read it. And the article is about basically saying it is time for us to stop giving this super preferential treatment in our state to nonprofit hospitals because they're making lots of profit. Like he's basically saying the name is totally misleading. These hospitals are making buku bucks, and we are helping facilitate that as taxpayers, and it's time for that to stop. Because he's saying that these hospitals and us facilitating them as taxpayers and their ability to have a nonprofit status is driving up the cost of health care. Hicks writes that in 2023, and he chose 2023 because that's the most recent year the data on the nonprofit hospitals is available. Indiana's 5 largest nonprofit hospitals earned income of more than $1.8 billion. $1.8 billion. That certainly sounds like a lot of profit to me. These were IU Health, who was the biggest one, $1.13 billion for IU Health. Parkview Health, $279.3 million. Ascension St. Vincent, $250 million. Franciscan Health, $45 million. And Deaconess Health, $109.8 million. So you had 4 nonprofit hospitals earning more than $100 million. That's crazy. That's insane. The net income, right? The net income, that's profit of over $100 million. That sounds like profit to me. I don't know about you guys. On top of that, according to Hicks, these hospitals receive donations from in-state residents and philanthropies that range from between 101 million, well, 101.7 million and 121.7 million. So they got these donations while 4 of them were making over $100 million of net income in 2023. I bet it ain't gotten down the last 2 years. I know our healthcare costs certainly have not gone down. By the way, when does the your healthcare won't go up one dime stuff start? Remember that? Obamacare? Your healthcare plan, it won't go up one dime. I can testify healthcare has gone up many dimes. When does that start? I thought Obamacare was supposed to increase competition. I thought it was supposed to make healthcare more affordable. We're 16 years on now from Obamacare. When does it start? Now, Hicks writes that the hospitals, the nonprofit hospitals, are basically skirting antitrust laws, hiding behind this nonprofit status. And again, like when I think of a nonprofit, I think of a place like Damar, where almost all of their money's pumped back in. Yeah, they have a CEO, and yes, they have people that run the place. But you look at what Damar does, and you see, and by the way, Damar is a sponsor of State House Happenings, the good they do. We've had Dr. Jim Dalton, and they've talked about that's a very large nonprofit. You think about the Salvation Army, where their mission is to serve the needy, serve the underprivileged, serve people trying to get back on their feet. Like there's clear evaluation of what they're doing and how they're using the money. These people are profiteers, it looks like. Hicks writes, quote, creating a local monopoly unfettered by state enforcement of antitrust laws is a great gig. Yeah? Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue when you see these people are getting private donations between $101.7 and $121 million. And on top of that, they're making hundreds of millions of dollars, billions in the case of IU Health, but yet they're able to get this money free of charge. Hicks then goes into great detail, and this is fascinating. He goes into great detail about how nonprofits are misleading Hoosiers on the amount of charity care they're providing, which is what a nonprofit's supposed to do. Again, you think about a nonprofit, I give you money, soup kitchens, those sorts of things. I give you money, you serve the community. You're not in it for yourself. You may have CEOs. You do have CEOs. You do have people that are working for you that are getting paid, but not to the extent we're talking about here. And then they're playing, these nonprofits are also playing fast and loose with the numbers they're giving to the state of Indiana versus what they're giving as required to the IRS. Because they want the numbers to look better on what they're actually doing versus what they have to give to the IRS because they're getting audited. Listen to the explanation from Hicks. And this is verbatim what he wrote. And I normally don't do this, but I thought this was very well written. And I thought it really sums up. So bear with me here. I normally don't read directly from a news article or a column, but I thought this was very well written. He writes, quote, you see, the IRS requires nonprofit firms to report charity care by citing the actual out-of-pocket cost to the hospital. In contrast, Indiana permits them to report the sticker price of those services in audited financial statements. Comparing the two offers insight into the markup these hospitals charge for their services. See, what they're giving to the state of Indiana is markedly different from the actual numbers they're giving the IRS. In 2023, IU Health told the IRS that its out-of-pocket costs for charity care were $124.5 million, but told the state of Indiana that it was $301.7 million. It's one of these things like where there's the price, but then there's what we actually charge. You know, you go and what's the sticker price? Yeah, but what's the actual price? We went through this. I can tell this story now. Jason and I went through this. When we were looking for a studio, this is a great example that I can come up with this. Now he knows where I'm going with this. He's laughing. When we were looking for a studio, there was a guy that we got referred to, nice enough guy, and he had a fabulous studio, gorgeous studio. We went in this place and we, said, here's what we're looking at doing. Here's what we're thinking about. We were thinking about doing this on our own. Did we want to do it with somebody else? We were in the very early stages of this. And this guy's studio, outstanding, does all sorts of great work. And we knew going into that place we were going to have to pay a few bucks to have those services. We weren't like naive to that. But we also knew, and this, we were referred to this guy, and we entered into this conversation with this guy knowing, hey, Rob brings a lot of eyeballs. Rob is going to be able to bring a lot of traffic to what I do. So it wasn't just, here's the price. Like, everybody knew that walking into the conversation. And so we go and we meet with the guy and we tell him what we're going to do. He goes, okay, hey, I'll put some stuff together. And it takes him about a week, right? So we're starting to get a little frustrated with some of that, but that's fine. It's the speed of business. People don't move as fast as we want them to. And finally, he says, okay, I've got the numbers for you. So we have a meeting. So, okay, great. And he starts going through all of the costs of everything. And I think, Jason, didn't he say it's the sticker price or it was the retail price? He kept saying the retail price. I think that was the word he kept using. And Jay and I are on the phone with this guy, and we're like, okay. Like, he keeps saying retail price over and over and over again. And so finally, this was like an hour this conversation went on. And again, this guy was very nice. He has a fabulous studio. But finally, we just said, what are you talking about retail price? And he goes, well, like, this is what it would be if I charged someone like off the street. And we said, but that's not what you're doing with us. He goes, yeah, I know. We said, we've been at this for an hour. That's not our price. We just want to know what our price is. What are you charging us? He goes, well, I was just trying to let you know what it would have cost. I don't care what it would have cost an average person. They never did tell us the price. We never finally did get the final price. So my point is, like, we've never told that story. Yeah, that was the day that Jay and I were just like, we'll just do it ourselves. But anyway, that's basically what he's talking about here, like the sticker price. What are you showing the public? No, the IRS don't care what you're showing the public. The IRS cares what you're actually doing. And that's what Hicks is talking about here. That $301 million that they were showing the state of Indiana versus what they were actually showing the IRS, a markup of 241%. According to Hicks, a 2024 Rand Corp study, which measured what private insurers pay relative to Medicare rates, found IU Health's markup was 237%. You know why they do it? Because they can get away with it. I don't think nonprofits, when you think about a nonprofit, do you think about, wow, they should be marking up the private sector because they can get away with it? No. You would be thinking a nonprofit should be charging everyone the same because the job of a nonprofit is not to make money, but rather to serve the community. The study analyzed 2020 to 2022 data, the most recent available then. By the way, this pattern, according to Hicks, he writes it's happening everywhere. He writes, quote, the pattern held across systems. St. Vincent had a 245% markup in 2023, compared with 263% in the RAND study. Franciscan Health had a markup of 196%, compared with 271%. Parkview, which has come under intense national scrutiny as the benchmark monopolist, reported 136% markup, compared with 262% in the RAND study. This is gross, guys. This doesn't sound like nonprofit. This sounds like people making a lot of profit, and it sounds like people sticking it to people they think they can stick it to. Hicks then lays out, and I thought this was brilliant, about how what these hospitals, these nonprofit hospitals are doing now is basically what took Rockefeller down in the U.S. versus Standard Oil case. Listen to this. Hicks writes, the 1911 case saw Rockefeller's company sued for vertical foreclosure. In the parentheses, he puts, like buying up physician practices, predatory pricing, like undercharging competitors to run them out of business, and secret rebates to suppliers, like facility fees, anti-steering clauses in hospitals, or turbocharging list prices. Hicks claims that Hoosiers pay $1,133 more for hospital care than the average American. That's a markup, according to Hicks, of 26% on hospital costs alone. And then Hicks talks about the threats that he gets when he writes these sort of articles. And guys, I'm going to read you this, and boy, does this sound familiar. You tell me who this sounds like. because Hicks is like, every time I speak the truth, somebody comes at me. Tell me if this description sounds like anybody you know. Quote, but I'm sure the hospital lobby will do what it does best. The lobby will pen angry letters to my university president asking him to revoke my tenure and fire me. It will also bombard university trustees with lies about my financial involvement with hospital critics and make sure no one they donate to can do business with my research center. Boy, howdy. Guys, remember, they kept a file on me, like a literal file. And my boss came on the air and talked about this on multiple occasions. They had a literal file from politicians who would call and bitch about me. And they would ask them, like, is there anything Rob said in here that's untrue? You know what the answer was? I can't believe you're letting Rob Kendall say that on the air. This is what these guys do. Hicks, sympathies for you, brother. I've been through it. When you speak the truth, they come at you. When you speak the truth, they come for whatever thing they can leverage against you. Bad news for you guys. Unless you can get to the CEO of YouTube, ain't nobody can fire me now. That's what these people do. They do it in politics. They do it in money. They do it in business. If you speak out, they will come for whatever they think they can leverage against you, because it's not fixing the behavior that is the recourse to them. The recourse to many of these people is, let's get the guy that speaks the truth. Let's take down the guy who tells the people the information. If we can cut him off, then we can stop people learning about what we're doing. Great article by Mike Hicks. I'm not a big fan of his, but I really, really did enjoy that article in the Indy Star, and everybody should go read it. Hey, guys, tomorrow's Wednesday, and that means, Wednesday through Saturday, that means Double D's Barbecue is going to be open. Right there in Clayton, near the corner there of 40 and 39, little bit of a trip, totally worth it. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett. They are from Memphis. Tina, so Memphis, she worked at Graceland. So they're not screwing around when it comes to their barbecue. It's authentic, wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All the food cooked fresh daily. They make all their own sauces, all made from scratch. Every one of you guys has been out there so far, and I know a bunch of you have gone, said, totally worth the trip. That's the thing I love about our show. Our two food sponsors, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro in Brazil and Double D's Barbecue in Clayton, they're locally owned, Hoosier through and through type of restaurants. They're small. They're great. The food is awesome. The decor is amazing. I love that these are our sponsors, our food sponsors. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton also does catering. They can customize menus to fit your event, including themes. And they've even got a food truck for your big outdoor events. You got some festival or something, Double D's would be awesome. Double D's, located right at 40 and 39 in Clayton. Easy to get to. A little bit of a drive, but easy to get to. Wednesday through Saturday are their days they're open. And get there early, because since they make all the food from scratch, once they're done, they're done. See the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com. ddbbq317.com. Guys, when we come back, you won't believe the amount of Americans who think the Trump assassination attempts were staged. This blew my mind. I'll tell you about it next. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, a realtor with App Properties. Born and raised right here in Central Indiana and a Hoosier through and through. Selling your home is a massive undertaking, and I completely understand what that is. That's why when you work with me, we put a great plan together to make sure that when your home comes to the market, it is in the best light possible. Again, I'm Lauren Wilson, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Let's put a plan together and get your home sold.
Welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. You will not believe the amount of people who think the Trump assassination attempts were staged. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Before we do, housekeeping reminders. Don't forget, hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. It's such a small thing. It helps us so much. Don't be a freeloader. Don't dine and dash. That's the one little thing we ask you to do. Hit the like button. Help us grow the show. Also, setting that lofty goal to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the week. So if you know people, you message them and you say, get your butt over there, subscribe to this show, and give us a listen. Give us a watch. Give us a like. We're here 3 hours a day, every day, doing Indiana news, politics, and government with some national woven in. Yeah, woven in. And don't forget, we love all you participating in the YouTube chat. You guys are great. Into the show, producer Jason comes in, reads the best YouTube comments of the day, and that YouTube chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. By the way, we got to talk about what our guy John is doing from Black Sheep Plumbing for us here in just a little bit. Once we get to the YouTube chat, he's awesome, and we'll tell you about that. Okay. Oh, very good. So USA Today, a bunch of publications had this out. I just chose USA Today. Has a story about a poll that has come out. It's a YouGov poll, NewsGuard YouGov poll, about how people feel about the Trump assassination attempts. And one of the things I think this reflects is that the government lies to us so much that people just don't believe anything anymore. They just don't believe anything relates to their government. Now, look. That first assassination attempt was what, a fraction of an inch from killing the president? If you were going to stage an assassination attempt, hey, miss really high, like shoot it up in the air or something. And that was what I was just getting to. And someone lost their life. I don't think Donald Trump would let someone get killed. Like that to me is just so utterly ridiculous. Hey, shoot it really close to my ear, Junior. Yeah, I don't think that's how that works. But I think this is a reflection. The data I'm about to give you is a reflection of the society we live in which the government has done this to themselves, by the way. The government has done this themselves with the brazen dishonesty, the brazen deception. By the way, everybody noticed since we went to Iran, one thing we stopped talking about? Epstein. You know what you don't hear anymore? Epstein. That's wild how that worked out. Anyway, this new NewsGuard YouGov poll, which was released May the 11th, so that was yesterday, right? Found that 24% of adults believe that the incident in the D.C. Washington Hilton was fake. So a fourth of the country believes that was staged. Now, we had Adam Wren from Politico on a couple weeks ago. He was there when it happened. He was in the room. And I think there's some serious questions about who this guy was, how he was able to get a firearm in there, how he was able to get in the hotel with the firearm. I mean, he was staying at the place, but all of these things, I think they're very viable. How did he get that close? How did he get into that location? Adam Wren talked about the very lax security relative to essentially our entire government being in one room. He said, hey, I went through one little metal detector thing, very similar to what you go through at the Indiana State House to get in. By the way, why is it our lawmakers can carry guns in the State House and we can't? You know that? You guys know that? Lawmakers can walk around with firearms. We can't. No offense to the lawmakers. There's some fine ones. Some of those guys are a lot bigger danger to humanity than I ever will be. You know, like guys who drive drunk, blow through a barricade, go back up the exit ramp the wrong way, flee the scene, destroy their car, try to hide their car from the cops, get cute with the cops when they ask them about the vehicle in question. Do you guys know anybody who did that? Was there ever a state rep who did that? That person to me would be an infinitely bigger danger to humanity than I ever will be. Or, you know, like a senator who, you know, on a Friday afternoon gets totally blitzed up, 3 times the legal limit, roughly 3 times the legal limit, and is motoring down a crowded roadway. So drunk that the Panda Express turned him in. The workers at the Panda Express. I've seen some drunk-ass people in the Panda Express before. You know, drunk you got to be for Panda Express to be like, that guy shouldn't be going on his own. No. And then appears to be eating his food and drinking his drink when the cop pulls him over. Were there any senators that did that? Oh, we might talk about that guy later on in the program because he's apparently the guy they're putting in charge of the medical marijuana bill. Of all the frickin' people, that's the guy you're giving the medical marijuana bill to. I'm sure it'll go through with, just fly through, easy colors. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent here. But our lawmakers are allowed to carry firearms in the State House. You and I, no. It's constitutional carry unless you're around the kings and queens. Then, peasant, you aren't allowed in with your firearm. We're real Billy Badasses on 2A until we're around the lawmakers, and then, oh no, not here. Anyway, so 24% think the event at the Hilton was staged. 45% of the country thinks it was legitimate. So at least a plurality, but not a majority. That's wild, isn't it? A majority of Americans aren't sure whether it was staged or not. 32% say they're unsure. That's crazy. 1 in 3 Democrats responded, said they think it was staged. About 1 in 8 Republicans. This is the one that blows my mind. I mean, that one's bad enough, right? 1 in 3 Americans believes at least one of the 3 assassination attempts against Trump was staged. 1 in 3. Basically 33% of Americans. Asked about, this is the one, guys. Asked about the Pennsylvania assassination attempt. 24% of respondents say they believe the shooting was staged, including 42% of Democrats. Again, guys, if you're going to stage an assassination, first of all, the shooter dead. The shooter dead. A person died in the audience, and Trump was a fraction of an inch from also being dead. You think that's how you'd stage an assassination attempt? If the guy was going to stage the assassination attempt, first of all, what do any of these people get? Hey, you're going to really want to stage this assassination attempt. One of you is going to end up dead, and 2 of you will end up spending the rest of your life in prison. Sign me up for that. what would these people get out of this? Like, it'd be one thing if, well, it happened and the bullet was nowhere near the president and the guy disappeared into the bushes and he's never seen or heard from again. One guy's dead, two of the people are going to prison for the rest of their lives. What are these people, why would they participate in that? What reason would there be for that? But if you were going to stage the assassination attempt, you wouldn't tell the guy, nick the president's ear. What are we talking about here? Look, I distrust the government as much as the next person. There's all sorts of things that this is the premise of our show, calling BS on the government. And I'm reading this going, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. 42% of Democrat respondents said they thought the shooting was fake in Pennsylvania. About 16% of the people thought the assassination attempt at Trump's golf club was staged, including 26% of Democrats. And then when they asked they asked on all three assassination attempts. 13 for the people who believed all three assassination attempts were legitimate. 13% of the people who believed all assassination attempts were legitimate. Only 13% were between the ages of 18 and 29. So there's a lot of older people, right? Of those who believe that all three assassination attempts were legitimate, only 13% were between the ages of 18 and 29. So a lot of older people. People with life experience. Overall, 21% of Democrats think all three were staged. All three were staged. Guys, what are we doing here? And again, this poll says it's older people that are thinking this. We have to do something about this. We should all be very distrustful of the government. We should all assume the government is continually screwing us over because it is. We should all assume the government is repeatedly lying to us about policies and things they're doing because they are. But I think even as the most distrustful person of the entire government out there, this is taking it a little bit too far. I don't think Trump would tell the guy, get it real close, man. Get it real close. Nick my ear. Let's make it believable. Gotta be freaking kidding me. What is wrong with people? Hey, guys, if you're buying a home or thinking about refinancing, work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps home buyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple. Clear advice and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes. Loansbygary.homes or call today 317-695-5179. 317-695-5179 to get started today. Guys, you got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage. NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender. All right, let's talk about how much money is getting spent by the Republicans against a Republican. Guys, this is what I talked about with the Senate races here. It's the disingenuous nature of all of it. And so much of what Trump does, it feels like more about revenge than better public policy. Look, I'm not crying any tears for these incumbents that went down. We've talked about this at length. I loathe these people. Many of them have done immense harm to our state. But I'm also not going to lie to you and pretend like them going down was about better public policy in Indiana. It wasn't. It was a revenge. It was an act of revenge. Revenge tour for Trump. And it was facilitated by people who are super subservient with Trump, people who fancy themselves the president of the United States someday, people like Jim Banks. The issues weren't, I mean, how the hell do you let the gas tax be what it was for 9 years and then all of a sudden Jim Buck voted against the gas tax? No kidding. That would have been very helpful 9 years ago when we were trying to stop the gas tax from getting enacted. No one said a word about it until they wanted to punish the guy for his vote on redistricting. Jim Buck's rotten. Glad he's gone. But the person who won hasn't been held to any sort of account or obligation once they're in office. I have no idea what Tracy Powell's going to do. None. Neither do you. That's not a good thing. And if it was actually about redistricting, wouldn't it have been better, or getting more seats in Congress, wouldn't it have been better to spend all of that money winning the first congressional district, which we've been told by Republicans for years is in play. It's a swing district. It's not, but they lie and say that to get money. So if you really believe that, why wouldn't you have spent the $13.5 million up there getting a good candidate to run and winning that race? The answer is they can't win that race because they haven't governed well enough to win that district. So they said, well, we'll just change the map. It's like one of the great two-strike hitters in the history of baseball was Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs played for the Boston Red Sox. He played for the New York Yankees, Hall of Famer, third baseman, World Series champion, one of the great, probably one of the top three third basemen along with Mike Schmidt and George Brett in the history of baseball. Wade Boggs was a phenomenal two-strike hitter. His batting average with two strikes was astronomical. Normally when a guy gets two strikes, their batting average goes way down. But Wade Boggs, you had to get three strikes on him. That's why he was such a tough out. Hey, he's going to see as many pitches as he can, and he knows he can get two strikes on himself because he's got a third strike, and he wants to see that pitcher throw as many pitches as he can. It'd be like in the middle of the at-bat, the pitcher goes, screw it. I can't get the third strike on Boggs. He keeps fouling these pitches off. I can't get him out. Let's just change the rule to say it's two strikes. Now, Boggs, you're out of here. Well, you're not going to do that. That's what the Republicans propose doing. We've drawn these districts. We told everyone they were fair because they were. They actually are a very good representation of the state of Indiana. But we can't win this third congressional district, the first congressional district, because we haven't governed effectively enough both in our own state and in Washington that people want to cross over and vote for us. We haven't put policies in place that make people want to be a part of us. Independents, the Democrats, necessary to get it done. So we'll just do the equivalent of with two strikes telling Wade Boggs he's out because we can't get him out. I'm not okay with that. I believe you win elections by governing, by records, by campaigning. It's why I'm so frustrated with all of this. These candidates who won, do any of you have any idea what they're going to do when they get in there? And the answer is no. We do know Ron Alting now is flip-flopped on redistricting. That's what we know so far. That's not set up for success for us. That's not set up for betterment of us. And the first congressional district, they've not recruited a good candidate. There's not going to be money flowing. They're going to lose the seat. Well, you can't lose the seat. They're not going to win the seat. And now the same thing's happening again in Kentucky, where Trump is more interested in going after Republicans than he is getting more Republicans. Now, in this case, he's going after the best Republican in the entire Congress, Thomas Massie, U.S. Representative, Kentucky. And he hates Massie because Massie votes against all the spending. Massie votes against stuff that isn't paid for. Massie believes, like many of you, the government should pay its bills. You want to spend a bunch of money? Tax people for it. If you're not going to tax them for it, don't spend as much. Daft. Deficits are future taxes. Guys like Massie don't believe that people who don't have a vote should get saddled with future taxes. And by the way, of course, debt also drives inflation, which makes everything more expensive. Trump hates Massie. Not because Massie's done anything wrong, but because Massie has the audacity to govern the way Republicans put on paper on their party platforms that they're for governing. Massie says, okay, words have meaning. Let's do it. Well, we didn't really mean that. But it says, no, we didn't mean that. No, we're just kidding. LOL. JK. And so there has now been more than 25, according to Axios. Axios has a big write-up on this morning. There's now been more than $25.6 million in ad spending in Massey's House district in his primary election, making it the most expensive U.S. House primary in American history already. Most of it is coming from the pro-Israel lobby and Trump. The pro-Israel people are mad because Massey is against the Iran war because it is being done to serve Israel. Well, that's what he believes, and many of us also believe that. I mean, guys, we're going on 11 weeks into this Israel deal. And do you know why we did it? Well, Iran conflict, yes, for Israel. Thank you. Thank you, producer Jason. Yeah. We're 11 weeks into this Iran deal. Maybe that was a Freudian slip, right? Do you know why we're doing it? Well, Iran can never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Okay. Didn't we hear that same thing about Saddam Hussein? And somebody pointed out the other day, and they're right, if it's all about somebody not having a nuclear weapon, well, why aren't we in North Korea? Because they got one. They got several of them now. Why Iran? Why now? And Massey has said, you should go to the Congress. I mean, we're well past the 60 days at this point, and they're getting fast and loose with that, too, saying, well, there's a pause. There's a pause. It's not engaged conflict. There's a ceasefire. Everyone should be outraged that the Trump administration is using that as an excuse not to get permission from Congress. I don't care whether you're the biggest Trump fan or not. That is pathetic. And so Massey said, I'm not voting for spending on Iran. I'm critical of this war with Iran. I don't see a benefit for us doing this with Iran. And certainly every time we go to the gas pump, we're seeing the detriment of doing it. Isn't it weird that they've never made the case of what Iran was doing that was any different from the first year Trump was in office, or when Biden was in office, or when Trump was in office the first time? What did these people suddenly do that necessitated this engagement? Has anybody heard that? Has anybody heard any sort of specifics? And that has made the pro-Israel lobby big mad. And anytime you dare say anything that isn't 100% whatever Israel wants, whenever they want it, they spend $1 gajillion against you. That's the way it works in this country. Either you have absolute subserviency to the people of Israel and you give them whatever they want, or they spend $1 gajillion against you. According to Axios, the Republican Jewish Coalition has spent $4 million on ads supporting Massey's opponent, with AIPAC, Super PAC, United Democracy Project spending another $2.6 million, according to Ad Impact. That's $6.6 million against the best, most rock-solid, consistent, true conservative we have in the U.S. House of Representatives. Because he has the audacity to say, hey, if you're going to go to war, declare war. If you're going to do this, if you're going to ruin if you're going to make things more expensive back here at home, if you're going to make it harder to live back here at home, you need to have a reason for it. You need to sell it to the American people. The second biggest spender, Trump-aligned group MAGA Kentucky, $5.6 million. Put those two together, what is that? $12.2 million amongst those three groups. $12.2 million coming out against somebody who says we should pay our bills. The Republicans, by the way, Massey's been outspent by almost $4 million so far in the race, collectively, Massey and his pro groups versus groups against Massey. Guys, this is the Republican Party now. You want to know why I am the way I am about the Republicans? Because this is who they are now. If you're consistent, if you're conservative, if you believe in paying our bills, if you believe in not spending more than we bring in, if you believe in not adding to our $39 trillion national debt, if you believe in better, leaner, more efficient government, Trump will come at you. He will take you out. He will take you down. And the Republicans will stand behind him while he does it. This is who the Republicans are now. If Thomas now I think Massey's going to win because the people of his district have consistently been very smart. And we all should hope that Massey wins. I want Trump to succeed. This gives me real pause about who Trump is, though. He's done this multiple times where he goes after people who are espousing the views that the Republican Party is supposed to have. It's not a good look. It's not good. Hey, guys, do me a favor. When you get home today, a little homework for you. Let's just take a couple minutes. Go into your bathroom and look up at the ceiling above your shower. Seriously, just take a look up above it. I did it the other day just to check for this. Look for staining, peeling paint, or a fan that sounds like a lawnmower and barely moves in the air. If you're getting any of that and your mirror stays fogged up after you take a shower, your fan is not doing its job. And if it's not working, moisture is going somewhere, oftentimes into the walls, into the ceiling, into the attic. And that can mean mold, water damage, big time cost down the road. Go to ventsavvy.com, 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 and find out if your fan is actually doing its job. All right, we got a lot more to get to. We're in hour 2 of a 3-hour jam-packed program. We'll be back in just a moment. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on The Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434 and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like button. It really helps us outgrow this program. Share our feed if you're feeling super generous. Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're finding your social media these days. Share us out to the masses. We need you guys to help us grow. And a couple of other housekeeping items. If you haven't done so yet, we'd love for you to join us June the 27th. At Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. Our live show, it's going to be awesome. We'll tear it down just like we did the last time. It's going to be me for an hour or more, just bringing the smoke. I got to come up with an hour of material for you people. Yikes. Jason will be there. It's going to be a fun time. We'll have so much fun, a celebration of the show and you guys helping us grow this show and a chance for everyone to get together. Don't wait, guys. Get your tickets now, madhattershows.com, or just simply go to the robkendallshow.com, robkendallshow.com. Got the link right up there. Get those tickets. Let's go have a fun evening together. Speaking of robkendallshow.com, if you haven't yet, check it out. We got the aforementioned link. We got our live link there. We've got all the on-demand platforms where you can hear us and see us. We've got articles each day from our favorite segments, and we've got that support button. If you like what we're doing and you're like, that guy, he's a little strange, but he's got it going on, hit that support button. $1, $10, $10,000, whatever it is. RobKendallShow.com. We also got to thank John Rust. John Rust, the sponsor of our third hour now, guys. We're able to be with you 3 hours a day, thanks to John Rust, who generously stepped up and allowed us to bring you the third hour. By the way, our buddy Whitmer, Stephen Whitmer, pointed this out, Indy reporter on Twitter. The Mid-States Corridor has a social media account. Did you guys know that? They got a Twitter account. The Mid-States Corridor. They got their own Twitter account. I was reading it during the break, chuckling at it. We might have to read some of those tweets that they've put out. Okay, let's see here. Bunch of stuff to get to. We're halfway home. We're past halfway home. But it's a couple of things I definitely wanted to hit on here today. Big news coming out of The Hill. 2 articles from The Hill that I wanted to touch on. And if you guys haven't read The Hill, they cover national politics. I get a lot of stuff from there. I've used them for years. So, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Because once the midterm ends, we're going to immediately start on a presidential election. Like as soon as the votes are tabulated, we're going to start on a presidential election on both sides. Because we'll have an open seat. We'll have no incumbent president running for re-election. That'll be the first time that's happened since 2016. Well, no, I guess Biden technically didn't run. I don't know on that one. Because Biden did run, and then he didn't run, and then he quit. I don't know. I'm counting that because he ran for president. So it'll be the first time since 2016. You guys get what I'm saying. And Trump, the other day, he was at an event at the Rose Garden for National Police Week. By the way, thanks to all our police officers out there. You guys are great. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for putting yourself in harm's way. Thanks for being the first line of defense. And that's right. Producer Jason pointed that out. If your plumbing screws up, you get a discount, a first responders discount, American Heroes discount with our friends at Black Sheep Plumbing, who we'll be telling you about coming up later on because they sponsor our YouTube chat. So he's at this event in the Rose Garden, and Trump says this about J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. Quote, by the way, I do believe that's the dream team, but these are minor details. That does not mean you have to have my endorsement under any circumstance. But, I think it sounds like like presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate. So my question to you guys is, and this is like way ahead. We're barely through a primary in the midterms. Have you guys even started thinking about the next Republican Party? Like, what does the Republican Party look like post-Donald Trump? Or will it be post-Donald Trump? Have you guys given any thought to who the standard bearer becomes? I mean, I get that in the very tight, only Trump orbit, that Trump is very popular and his word is very powerful. But Trump has repeatedly proven when he is not on the ballot, it's tough for him to deliver, especially in a general election. So would you vote in the next set of elections after we get through this one? Like, this is our show, right? And we haven't had the election, but the next one. Would you vote based on what Trump says? Or with Trump no longer running, with Trump no longer on the ballot, does he become sort of an irrelevant lame duck? Obviously, he's still the president. He's the commander-in-chief. Not irrelevant from that standpoint. But in terms of his political clout. Or will Trump still be the dominant figure in the Republican Party? Because I'm working through this right now. And look, guys, I think even though some of these changed congressional maps are going to help the Republicans, I still think the Democrats are going to win the House of Representatives. I think the Republicans have pissed too many people off. I think there are too many things working against them, both historically and in the moment, with the prices of everything being so high. The thing with Iran is very unpopular. You've got historically the party in power loses seats in the midterms. I think they're going to lose the House of Representatives. Maybe not by a lot, It may not be a bloodbath. It may not be a total wipeout. But if you've got an unpopular president, which Trump is collectively, a lot of the polling showing him now in the mid-30s pretty consistently, and there's not a lot on the horizon that you go, hey, it's going to be great. Like, that's the thing people forget about Reagan. The economy was still in bad shape for a lot of Reagan's first term. We kind of like in revisionist history or in our minds, we think, oh, Reagan got elected and America was great. That wasn't how it happened. The first couple of years were really shaky. Reagan was kind of unpopular. But by 1984, the people had a belief system. They were starting to see signs of life. And with Reagan as the cheerleader, people said things are getting better. America's making a comeback. It's morning again in America. That was the slogan. I don't see that right now with Trump in America. I don't see prices going down. I don't see a vast amount of job creation that doesn't involve foreign companies and foreign workers or megacorps. I don't see Main Street thriving. And so, without a really strong president, if we just assume sort of the status quo continues, now it could totally turn around. It could turn around tomorrow, much less 2 years from now. But do you guys think that the Trump endorsement is going to carry that much weight? Like, is Trump going to be able to anoint someone, the de facto head of the Republican Party? He's the nominee, or these guys are the ticket in this case. I don't see that happening. And by the way, if things don't get better, it's like when the end of the Bush presidency. There really wasn't anybody good running because I think everybody kind of knew they were going to lose. They thought they were going to lose to Hillary in the beginning, but everybody kind of thought, man, Bush is so bad and people are so mad. I got a real chance maybe to be president someday. Do I want to waste it on 2008? John McCain wins. Did anybody ever believe McCain had a chance to be the president? Like, if you were really honest with yourself, like the moment he picked Sarah Palin, you're like, his own base hates him so much he had to pick Sarah Palin. Okay, probably not going to be a good year for us. But is Trump going to have that sort of power where he can just anoint someone as the de facto party head, the de facto nominee? I look at I think there's so many people that are interesting outside of the Trump orbit. I actually think the Trump orbit's kind of boring now. Like, we've seen the song and dance for so long. Like, what do we have to go on with J.D. Vance? He was a senator for a couple of years. He was an author, and he became a senator, and after a couple of years as a senator, he's vice president. We have no idea how he would actually govern. Because the job of the vice president is, especially under Trump, but it is any vice president, complete and utter subserviency to the president. The president's top cheerleader. The president's top advocate. That is the job of the vice president. Whatever the president wants, you make it happen. It's Jason. Jason is the perfect vice president of the United States.
A hell of a lot more than the vice.
Stern face, unwavering support of Rob Kendall, biggest cheerleader and advocate. You are the perfect vice president. No matter what stupid crap I pull, Jason's there to pull me out of it and back me up. It wasn't as bad as you thought, Rob. But we have no idea how Vance would actually govern on his own because he's never governed on his own. Rubio was a senator. He's done a pretty fine job by all accounts as Secretary of State. See, I think once we get rid of Trump, I think Rubio is going to blow past Vance. I think there's a lot of people, especially in the money class, that really like Rubio because they've seen him before he was beholden to Trump. And that appeals to a lot of people. And he carries himself like a president. Vance just always strikes me as a baby. I'm not saying he's not very smart. He's clearly very smart, and he's been very successful. I look at Vance and I see a child. And I get that he's my age, right? Or a year younger than me or whatever. But I don't know. I don't see President of the United States with J.D. Vance. I look at Rubio, I do see it, like a central casting. But I think Trump orbit is kind of boring now. What about a governor? What about Ron DeSantis? Have you ever seen a guy fall off the face of the earth faster than Ron DeSantis? Like, he was the guy. You guys know, many of you longtime listeners, I was a huge, huge DeSantis fan. Why? Because I thought 4 more years of Trump was going to be what we've gotten. I've seen the Trump show. I've been to that movie. It's like a TV show that it comes out of the gate awesome for the first couple of years. And you're like, man, that was fun. Season 1 was great. And then you realize the writers just kind of used all the ammo season 1. Like, we used all the ideas. We got great ratings, but we kind of blew through it. And I just kind of knew we weren't going to get spending cuts. We weren't going to government reform. The things he was campaigning on was just more debt. It was like, God, it just, I'll vote for the guy because I vote for a rock over Kamala Harris. But I just felt like DeSantis, a guy who's actually governed, a guy who's led in times of crisis created by Trump. The COVID stuff was created by Trump and the Republicans. I'm not saying Trump invented COVID, but I'm saying the government response was what did the damage. By the way, are you guys following, is this hantavirus or whatever this thing is now? They got the people quarantined. Are we going into that again? I'm ignoring it. I'm opting out of the next shutdown. You all may have to come bail me out of a county jail somewhere, but I'm opting out. I did my part the last time. What do you guys think? Are you guys even thinking about it at all? How do you feel about the future of the Republican Party? And do you want a Trump person to be the next nominee? Do you want somebody out of the Trump orbit to lead the party going forward? Let us know in the YouTube chat. We'll try to get to some of those comments later on in the program. Okay, let's do this. Let's I want to talk about Bob Garton for a second, but before we do that, before we talk about Bob Garton, because he's a really important figure in Indiana history. You guys, buying a home is one of the biggest investments you'll ever make, but it's also about a lot more than just a price tag. It's about your next chapter. When you work with Lauren Wilson, realtor with At Properties, her goal is to make sure you're 100% comfortable every step of the way, that you feel confident in every decision you make. She's not just there to show you houses, to get you to say yes to something. She wants you to make the right choice and the best choice for you. And that's going to take some time. That's going to take a strategy. That's going to take effort. She wants to walk you through the schools, the neighborhoods, everything so that you have all the information to make the best choice. Hands-on, high-touch service, that's what you get with Lauren Wilson. Expertise of a lifelong Hoosier, military veteran who cares about you. Lauren Wilson with At Properties, 317-590-2290, 317-590-2290. All right, real quick, I wanted to touch on this. It's not some earth-shattering news. The guy's been out of the spotlight for 20 years, but he was an important figure in Indiana history. I wanted to mention it very quickly, and that was that Bob Garton passed away. Some of you people are like, who? Huh? But for those of you who have followed Indiana politics and government for a long time, the Capitol Chronicle had a big article about this. Bob Garton was the first Bob Garton was a Republican. He was first elected to the Senate in 1970, and he became the Senate pro tempore by 1980. Now, he's from Columbus, and he was actually a very important figure historically in Indiana history because he held that post for longer than anyone in state history. 26 years. Now, you know our story, our standard when people pass away. We speak of you in death as we spoke of you in life. And I want the same for me. If you loved me, you weep tears in the street when it's my time to go. You tell everybody how great I was. You carry my coffin down Main Street in Brownsburg like they do for some mafia boss. But if you hated me, you don't sugarcoat it. You tell everybody exactly what you thought of me. That guy was the most rotten so-and-so to blah, blah, blah ever. Because that's the standard I have for everybody else, especially with public figures. If you were famous, we will talk about what you were famous for, and we will judge that. Bob Garton was in the Senate way too long. 36 years is far too long for any person to serve in an elected body. My theory is 2 terms max on whatever the thing is. Maximum. Me, I knew going in, I was a 1-termer. Because when it's 1 term, can't nobody vote you out. And by the way, I'm forever undefeated. Rob Kendall, forever undefeated, running for public office. But I knew, in all seriousness, I only wanted to do it for one term. One, if you do the job right for a term, you'll be completely exhausted and want to be done with it. But two, then no one can ever leverage you. Every position I've ever been in, I have tried to make it so that no one can leverage me. Look at us now. Look at how I handled the radio show. Oh, what's the worst you can do? Fire me? Okay. Never compromise. That is the one thing I'm so damn proud of about that show. Not even the ratings. Which, by the way, we used to talk about the 9 to noon ratings all the time. Have they talked about the 9 to noon ratings? I'm not talking about WIBC's overall ratings. I'm talking about the specific 9 to noon ratings. Have I missed that? We used to proudly talk about we're number one in this demo, and we're number one in that demo, and we're number one overall, and we're this, and we're that. Have they mentioned the ratings? If they haven't, somebody should ask them. If only there was some way to ask them why they don't post the I would love to know. Guys, seriously, I have no idea. I'm not privy to that information anymore. I'd love to know how the ratings are doing. My point is, though, I am very proud of our ratings and was proud to tell you about them. But what I was most proud about is that everything we did and everything we're doing now, it's for you guys. Because, and we've talked about this with politicians, when you don't need the position, you can do what's right. You can do what's best. So many of these politicians, the position becomes them. It's bigger than their whole life in many cases. It's sad. It's very sad. But that's what they become. Being at the ribbon cuttings, the chamber lunches, the representative is here. Oh, the senator is here. Like, that becomes them. And everything they do becomes about having that title. I see it all the time in my industry. Whatever show someone has. Well, if I don't have that show, then what am I? Well, you're you. Go do it somewhere else. Find another way to do it. I always looked at my job was to be loyal to you. My job was to do the show you deserved. Not the show that was easiest for me. Not the show that caused me the least amount of grief. But to do the show that talked as much about the things that needed to be talked about as humanly possible, that were beneficial for you so you would know how your politicians were behaving. And part of that becomes, in any position, if you have something where you can be leveraged, people who want something will leverage it. People who want something will leverage it. In media, in politics. So to me, it's like, and I took this, look, I looked at the entire 9 years I was there as borrowed time, right? It was a blessing to be there for 1 minute. And every minute past the first minute was a gift from above. And we're going to do this thing this way. And you guys responded for years with those ratings. And when it ends, it ends. And eventually I'll rub the wrong person the wrong way. I rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. It just took 9 years for it to be the wrong person, whoever that was. And I'm okay with that because then we came here. We're not stopping. We're not quitting. We've built this beautiful new thing that you guys love over here and have helped us grow over here. And it'll keep growing. But with politicians, if you were actually about doing the right thing, if you were actually about not being leveraged, you would walk in and say that. You would walk in as a senator and say, I'm only doing one term. It's one of the reasons, unless you guys know this, I seriously explored running for Senate years ago, state Senate. And we would have won easily. We had an army of people ready to go. But ultimately, when I began thinking it through, I said to myself, I'm only committed to one term. I don't want to run for re-election. I want to take the same standard I had with the first office I was in and apply it with this one, where we're going to go in there, we're going to raise holy hell, we're going to tear down as much of it as we can. And then I realized I wouldn't be able to get anything accomplished in 4 years. You really probably have to have like an 8-year plan, and you have to make friends. And I wasn't by any stretch of the imagination, going to be there for 8 years, nor was I going to make any friends. And so I decided we got to get other good people to try to run. And media is the best way to go back to media is the best way to be able to do that. My point is to come full circle. 36 years is far too long for anyone. You know, for those of you who watch State House Happenings, you know, Jim Merritt and I have some fun with this. He was in the Senate for 30 years. He had a lot of wisdom and expertise about it. I've told him numerous times, you were there way too long. And I think Jim Merritt would admit to you, probably the final term or two, too much. So all of this to be said, Bob Garton's a record holder. He was in the Senate 36 years. He was the pro tem for 26 years. I'm not saying that as a positive thing. It is a record, though. It deserves to be mentioned as part of his biography. He was the longest leader of the Senate in Indiana state history. He was defeated in 2006. By the way, he worked with 5 governors. That's how long he was there. 5 governors. He lost his reelection bid in 2006. The irony of him losing in 2006 was, and by the way, I think Bob Garton was he 93? I think that's what he was. 90. Can't remember. He was very old. It's not like a sudden passing. Not that that makes it any better or worse. But Bob Garton lost his reelection in 2006 against a guy named Greg Walker. Greg Walker ran, and this was a hilarious campaign. You longtime political people will remember this because it made the news. Greg Walker ran his campaign in 2006 around Bob Garton having been there too long. So much so, and this was a brilliant campaign move. And it is amazing how people just run out of ideas, right? Because Greg Walker, ironically, just lost his reelection campaign to Michelle Davis, one of the people who's targeted by Trump. And Michelle Davis ran a campaign, or the people supporting her ran a campaign much around, the guy's been there 20 years, he's been there too long. But Greg Walker, when he defeated Bob Garton, he drove around his district in a 1970 Plymouth Valiant to show how long Garton had been there. This was hilarious, and you longtime political people remember this. By the way, Garton actually was a pretty historical figure, especially early on. Garton replaced, and this, like, again, these things are lost to history, but it's, you know, when people pass, we're able to bring them back up. Garton replaced the previous 2 Senate pro tempores, had gone down for corruption convictions. The Indiana Republican Party was a mess, guys. The 2 previous Senate pro tempores had gone down for corruption convictions. And Garton, to his credit, in the early 1980s, brought a sense of decency and honesty and accountability back to the State House. Like, it was the Wild West. Merritt's such a great historian. He wasn't in the Senate back then, but he knows all this. We'll have to ask him about this. To the point where Garton was so paranoid about people misbehaving and so wanted to bring public trust back into the State House, he quietly brought the FBI in to investigate, because that was when they were in the early 1990s. He brought the FBI into the State House because he was so concerned about the integrity of the State House. That was when they were first starting to license the riverboat casinos. And that was when the debate was going on about that. And Garton was so cognizant of what had brought him to the head of the Senate 10 years earlier that in the early 1990s, he brought the FBI into the State House to be a presence to make sure no corruption took place in regards to the riverboat casinos. Ironically, Garton went down in part because the casino industry got mad that he was so hesitant to expand gaming in Indianapolis, in the state of Indiana, because of corruption. The gambling casino lobby got big time behind getting him out, and that ultimately took him down. So anyway, Bob Garton passed away. He's a historical figure. Didn't have some hot take on it. I just wanted to mention it. He was a very important figure in Indiana history, and I wanted to mention it today. Hey, guys, is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salts, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help protect your outdoor surfaces. Whether it's a driveway, patio, sidewalk, if it's broken, cracked, falling apart, Seal Now. They're your guys. But they can do more than just concrete. They can do wood structures, pergolas, fences, decks, you name it. Any outdoor wood or concrete structure, Seal Now are the guys to bring it back to life. See their work for yourself. SealNow.com. SealNow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but you can mention, if you mention Seal Now and that you heard them on the Rob Kendall Show, you're going to get 20% off any long-term sealing project. 20% off any long-term sealing project just for mentioning you heard them on the Rob Kendall Show. SealNow.com. All right, let's take a break. A lot more to get to. Stick around. We'll keep you fired up and entertained. That's what we do here. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit SealNow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, a realtor with App Properties. Born and raised right here in central Indiana and a Hoosier through and through. Selling your home is a massive undertaking, and I completely understand what that is. That's why when you work with me, we put a great plan together to make sure that when your home comes to the market, it is in the best light possible. Again, I'm Lauren Wilson, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Let's put a plan together and get your home sold.
Welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. I see we're still under 200 likes for today. Help us out. If you haven't done so yet, let's try to get to 200 likes by the end of this segment. Hit that little thumbs up. Help us grow this show. And I know it's like a broken record, but all of these things, they do help us grow. They do help us expand. They do help us just continue to get out to more and more people, which it is. It is working. That's what we're doing. So just bear with me. When I ask you to do those things, there is a method to our madness. Okay. Coming up here in just a little bit, Jason will read the best YouTube chats of the day. Time to get your wildly entertaining comments in. You got a few minutes left to do that. Before we do, though, how do you guys feel about the ballroom? Like, what are your thoughts on the presidential ballroom at the White House? Because I have seen and heard both sides of this, and I go back and forth. Ultimately, I come down on, I think I'm against it. But then it's like, if you're for it, what way are you for it? Because, like, it's the most government thing ever. They made it so complicated. Because there are people who are like me. I say, we've spent enough. We have all these places for people to have things. I don't think I need a ballroom for the media to pat itself on the back and have a dinner every year.
The president almost got shot last week.
Yeah, and if they hadn't had the dinner for the media, wouldn't have needed to have it. That's why they were there, so the media can pat itself on the back and say how great we are and laugh at themselves. And then I say, well, so like there's people like me who say, okay, we have enough. I'm very concerned about the idea of special interest funding the ballroom because nobody does something for nothing. And like we've seen with the IEDC and the Indiana Economic Development Foundation, where the utility companies gave all that money to that foundation, Conveniently, they just keep getting sweetheart breaks from the government. Nobody's giving money for nothing. So then I feel like we got people that are buying their way into the government if we do it through private donations. So where are you guys at on it? I'm out on it altogether, but there are people who are like, well, we're for it and we want the taxpayers to pay for it because we don't want special interest to pay for it because we don't want special interest buying favors from the government. Then there are people who are like, no, I'm for it, but I want special interest to pay for it because I don't want taxpayers paying for it. Where are you guys at on the ballroom? They've made it so complicated, and I can see all sides to it. I mention all of this because The Hill has an article in which Rand Paul is the head of the Homeland Security Committee in the Senate, said the $1 billion ballroom is currently in the Homeland Security Reconciliation Bill. It's likely coming out of that bill. He said it's in there right now. A judicial committee, which is where this bill started, had put it in there. And Paul says now that it's coming over to Homeland Security, he is likely to pull the thing out of the committee. Now, what the Senate is doing here, and you're like, Rob, what are you talking about? The Homeland Security, blah, blah, blah. What the Senate is doing now is because the Democrats, successfully, I guess, shut down the government for months over being mad about border security and ICE, the Republicans caved because they were freaking out about the TSA workers not being at the airlines and people being delayed at the airport. The Republicans caved, and they passed a Homeland Security bill that didn't include border security or ICE for the most part. So now they're going to pass this through what they call reconciliation. Well, Rob, what is reconciliation? Well, reconciliation is a bill. You can only do it a certain number of times every year. It has to be related to the budget. That doesn't require the 60 vote threshold in the Senate. You can bypass the filibuster. Now, again, there are very specific rules related to getting reconciliation done. So what will happen is the Republicans will put forward a bill. The Democrats will then object to a whole bunch of things. The Republicans did this too when the Democrats were in charge. It's not special to Republicans or Democrats being in charge or out of power. But the party out of power will object to several things, trying to claim they're not germane to the budget, which anything related to reconciliation has to be related to the budget. Now, the Republicans feel pretty good about things like the border security, funding ICE. Those are clearly parts of the budget. But there, as with anything else, they'll throw a whole bunch of crap in there because it can never just be about the things they tell the American people it's about. They have to give away favors to special interests, to the donors, to the lobbyists, to their buddies. And one of the things that's in this thing right now is the ballroom. Now, Paul said that he is for funding this with private donations. Rand Paul wants the ballroom funded with private donations. Again, I have deep concern about that because nobody gives somebody money for nothing. It ain't the Dire Straits song, money for nothing and chicks for free. The women in Washington, they're very expensive. And the stuff you get, the money, it always has strings attached to it, people wanting policy favors down the road. But Paul admitted, he said, I think we're going to strip this ballroom bill out because the parliamentarian would strip it out because of what they call the Byrd Rule. The Byrd Rule has to be germane to the budget. The parliamentarian is who makes the call. So what will happen is they'll take a look at the bill. The Democrats will go to the parliamentarian who is appointed. It's an unelected person. It's an appointed person. And that person is essentially the umpire for the Senate. That person's job is to call the balls and strikes based on here's what the Republicans proposed. Here's what the Democrats objected to. They make a case. Basically, it's like a prosecutor making a case. The Republicans will be sort of the defendant, and then the parliamentarian would decide. Paul is saying, as I agree, the parliamentarian is likely to strip $1 billion from the ballroom out because it is not germane to the budget. What do you guys think? Let us know in the YouTube chat. We'll try to get to some of those comments today when we bring producer Jason in. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to touch on, and I talked about it very briefly, but this is ridiculous. The Republicans are putting Mike Bohachik in charge of the marijuana bill in the Senate. And it really feels like in doing this, because of who he is and the baggage that comes with him, the Republicans are setting medical marijuana up for failure. And that's a bad thing. Every one of us should have a vested interest, and public polling backs up that almost every one of us do, at least in the case of medical marijuana. I mean, it's in the 80 percentile approval rating. So 80% of Hoosiers approve of medical marijuana. Multiple polls have come out backing this up over many years now. We all should want people to be able to make the best choices possible with their medical provider, with their doctor. If we're going to license someone to practice medicine in the state of Indiana, then we are saying we think they have the sound mind and judgment to provide medical care, prescriptions, etc., remedies that are best for their patients. And if we're going to say that, why are we taking away a major tool to physicians, to medical doctors, to deal with people that are suffering, people that are having pain management issues? Why do we force people into dangerous, deadly opioids? Why do we do that? We shouldn't. The reason we do it is because the pharmaceutical lobby in the state of Indiana is so powerful, and they don't want alternatives to their profit factory. That's why we have been denied repeatedly, at least medical marijuana in the state of Indiana. And I've long said one of the reasons that medical marijuana hasn't gone anywhere is that on the House side, the face of it has been Jim Lucas. People are more apt to go along with things based on if it's people they like, it's they respect. Politics is no different than business. It's no different than decisions that you make in your personal life. If someone you like, admire, respect is advising you, someone you feel has gravitas, someone you feel comes in with the level of decorum, you're more apt to go along with something if they suggest it. Jim Lucas has been the face of marijuana in the legislature for years, and he's a joke. And thus we've seen medical marijuana and all forms of marijuana die repeatedly. Mike Bohachik feels like that on the Senate side. Of all the people of, what are there, 41 Republican senators? The guy who just went down, well, he didn't go down, he got a free pass, but he was just arrested and convicted of having so little self-control that he's super liquored up in the middle of the afternoon and is driving drunk down a road that people are using. So drunk, so inebriated, blew almost what? Well, he didn't blow. He refused the breathalyzer. Should I remind people the Bohachik thing and how that all went down? Okay, because this was so egregious, and this is proof that there are two standards of justice, and when people talk about that, this is what we're talking about. So Mike Bohachik is a senator from northern Indiana. He's a very liberal, moderate at best senator. He, this would have been in, 25, right? This would have been in, what year is it? It's 26. Yeah, right, 25. All these years run together now. I've had so many places I've been. Bohachik has a serious drinking problem. It was apparently somewhat well known amongst his colleagues. And in the middle of the day is arrested near his home for driving super drunk. Like, he was so drunk, the Panda Express people called the cops allegedly on him. He goes into Panda Express. He's super liquored up. They can tell he's inebriated. That guy should not be behind the wheel of an automobile. Like, I've been that liquored up, but I was eating a burrito at Chipotle at 3 a.m. in Broad Ripple or Qdoba, right? I wasn't getting in my automobile, motoring down a crowded stretch of road where I could harm somebody. I ain't mad that he was that liquored up. It is a little weird to be that liquored up at 3 p.m. at a non-special event. Like, it wasn't like he was at the, Kentucky Derby or something. I mean, this is just like standard operating procedure for this guy, apparently, allegedly. And he gets pulled over. They know he's drunk. They figure out, the body cam footage has all been released, by the way. You guys can see this. The officer figures out who he is, and he refuses the breathalyzer, which for most people would be an automatic suspension of your license. In the state of Indiana, if you refuse the breathalyzer, you get an automatic suspension of your license. They then take him back to the station. They do a blood draw, and his blood draw turns out is basically 3 times the legal limit. 3 times! And he's operating a vehicle. Well, because there's a very special rule for lawmakers that they can't be arrested during session, he's allowed to leave. His wife comes and gets him. And there's no mugshot. He's not arrested. And because he's not arrested, there's no mugshot, and he can't be charged until after session. The public doesn't know about this. He's allowed to drive his car, which you and I, if we fail the breathalyzer, be an automatic suspension of our license. He's allowed to drive his car. And this only comes out because somebody told me about it. I broke the story on this. You guys remember that? I broke the Bohachik story. And I contacted, there was a special prosecutor brought in. I contacted the special prosecutor. They gave me the information, and we broke the story that Bohachik had the OWI. But he evaded. He went through an entire session without any scrutiny whatsoever. There's no mugshot. He was allowed to drive his car. He was allowed to govern without any scrutiny because of the special law the lawmakers wrote that prevent themselves from being arrested during the special session. They're charged with a misdemeanor during the session. And so who knows what leverage those lawmakers had on him for all those months. Hey, Mike, you're going to vote our way, right? Yeah, that'd be a real shame if people had to know how you were, 3 times the legal limit, making an ass out of yourself. By the way, you want to talk about a guy that appears to have a serious drinking problem? He was 3 times the legal limit, and in that body cam footage, appeared pretty coherent. Like, just another day for him. I've seen people get pulled over. By the way, guys, I love the body cam footage videos. Just random people on YouTube. They're one of my favorite things to watch. I've seen some people at 2 times the legal limit. Ain't high functioning, much less 3. And so Bohachik then gets a slap on the wrist 5 months later, and he's back driving his car again. There was basically no punishment. He had to pay some fines, whatever. And so as a senator, it was a great deal for him. He got off basically scot-free. You and I, can you imagine Rob Kendall getting pulled over and I'm 3 times the legal limit? Can you imagine the flood of requests to get that body cam footage released? Can you imagine the headlines, the mugshot? He didn't get any of that. And now, apparently, the Senate is going to make him the face of the marijuana bill. There is a belief that because of such public outcry and with the federal government rescheduling the classification for marijuana, it's still illegal, but rescheduling the classification, that this may be our first actual chance to get at least medical marijuana legalized with some framework in the state of Indiana to really help people who need it. What a great opportunity. What a great opportunity for the sick, for the suffering, the people in pain. What a great chance. And you're going to make the guy whose headline was that he was 3 times the legal limit and skated out of any accountability the face of it? I'm sorry. There's no way you do that unless you just want bad headlines, you want jokes, and you want the thing to fail. I can't believe they would do that they would make him the head of the marijuana bill unless they wanted to go down. Hey, guys, you got a masonry color mismatch? Previous repair catching your eye? Not happy with the brick color in your home and ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior. You guys want to do something new? Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, beauty built to endure. BRAMWELLMCKAY, Bramwell Mackay. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's everybody's favorite segment. Producer Jason will read the best YouTube comments of the day. Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434, and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show, Hour 3, third hour, brought to you by our pal John Rust. Thank you, John, for making so many people's dreams all come true. Third hour, the Rob Kendall Show. It's time. I think this may be the most entertaining part of the whole program. I think many of you feel the same way. It is producer Jason reading the best comments where you become the star, and then it prompts me to say a bunch of stuff, too, based on your comments. The YouTube chat brought to you by our friends at Black Sheep Plumbing. Jason, tell us all about it.
That is correct, Rob. Black Sheep Plumbing, the sponsor of the chat. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to the plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. And don't forget, Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with an American Heroes discount. Call or text John at Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs. 765-315-7558. 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing.
So John Kenny, our awesome guy, owner of Black Sheep Plumbing, he is getting a giant Rob Kendall Show logo to put on his truck. Remember I sent that to you last night?
Be pretty awesome.
It's going to be awesome. Like John is one of our biggest fans. He was a huge fan when we were on WIBC. From the moment we started the show, he's like, I want to be a part of this. I want to help. I want to whatever. And not only does he like give us money so that we can keep the lights on, he's like, I'm making a giant logo to put on my truck. So when I drive all over central Indiana to do plumbing upgrades and repairs, people will see the show. That is a patriot.
Yeah, who the hell's Rob Kendall?
That's a patriot right there. So we got the billboard, thanks to Rust. We got the mobile billboard, thanks to John. We're in it, baby. We're in it. And look, it really does underscore what an awesome audience you guys have been for so many years. And I'm always touched when I get the emails from you guys about how much the shows over the years have meant to you guys and how much what we're doing now means to you guys. And, man, it's just that's why we do it. We do it because we know you guys are right there with us.
All right, we get to the chat. Starting off the first chatter of the day, MLM Warrior.
Oh, she beat the old man.
Good morning, everyone.
For those of you who are new, the old man tries to be first every single day, and it's a little fun game we have on whether the old man.
It's not a contest. It's just.
I think they take pride in who can be first. Although
I'm not sure they care. I think we're the ones that make a big deal.
Old man seemed very gracious in his defeat today. He was very welcoming in his response back to her.
Because he replies, "Happy Tuesday, everyone. Glad to see you started off the chat this morning, MLM Warriors."
Hey, and by the way, if you're still here, you're a loyal YouTube person. Every one of you YouTube people needs to be at our live show on June the 27th. This is a chance for you guys to all meet each other, hang out, get together. You're going to laugh your ass off and have a good time with me on stage. And so every one of you guys today, get those tickets. RobKendallShow.com. We got the link up there at the top. I want to see every one of you people. If you made it to the end of this show, you are a real one. I want to see you guys June the 27th.
MLM Warrior responds, "Thank you, old man." All right, C. Mills, good morning, all. Glad to be back in the chat today. Got to spend my weekend on a 2,500-acre hunting lodge in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. I've been to the middle of nowhere, Nebraska.
You've been many places, middle of nowhere, many places.
Exactly where you were, C. Mills.
Steve Mills, I've gotten to know him a little bit. He strikes me as the sort of guy, like, if you needed a really big favor done, he'd be the guy that'd be there to do it for you.
If you need something hauled.
No matter how illegal it might be, he would take care of you.
Well, there we go. Listener Dave, sounds like the opening to a Dexter episode. Again, these comments are all coming during the 10-minute countdown to the show.
Yeah.
Kevin Branham, Jason in his velvet voice should do pre-show commercials. When we started the show, one of my thoughts was we were going to do one of two things: either play all of the commercials, just loop the commercials for 10 minutes so people can get logged in and they hear Rob right off the bat, or I saw the countdown somewhere and I thought that would be pretty cool. Maybe we'll put some music behind it, and so that's kind of what we went with. So you got music instead of commercials on that.
Maybe we'll do something where I'm like speaking into the camera for 10 minutes, like some 1984 type of thing.
Oh, wouldn't that be thrilling with another 10 minutes of the 3 hours?
You have found
whatever. It's your show, Rob.
Kendall Show.
Point me in the right direction.
You are meant to be here. Everything in your life is leading up to this. See, something like that.
Listener Dave, did I say that? Sounds like the opening to a Dexter episode.
Yep.
Okay, Dexter, awesome. Dexter was a great series, but it got kind of old and long in the tooth when they went to the 15th season or whatever it is.
My wife loved the Dexter. She tried to get me to. It came back, right? There was some sort of comeback.
Well, he's a little too old now, though. It just doesn't fit. It's not right.
She started watching the comebacks, and I sat there and tried. I mean, I knew the premise of it. He was great. Michael C. Michael C. Hall?
No, it's not Hall. Something anyway.
He was
Dexter.
great. He was great in a show called 6 Feet Under. Remember 6 Feet Under?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Absolutely.
He was on HBO. He was one of the kids on 6 Feet Under. He was awesome on 6 Feet Under.
Right. Yeah. 2 good series. After that, he really hasn't done the movies I've seen him in. Really,
I think he get typecast.
All that fantastic. Courtney Hill. Good morning, friends. Missed you the last few days. Well, Courtney, we're glad you made it back.
She didn't say where she was?
No, she didn't.
Huh?
Where'd you go, Courtney? Steve Green with an E. Good morning, everyone. It's a fantastic and beautiful day to bring the heat.
That's right.
Let's go.
Steve Green with an E.
LT Wilson. Jason, thanks for accepting the friend request yesterday. I must learn the ways of coolness.
Now, is this like your actual page or the producer Jason
I don't know.
page?
I put up a producer Jason page just for the heck of it. And as we went off the air, I was going to say I'd like to get 10 followers in the next 5 minutes. And I said 100. And I don't know why I said 100. I came nowhere near 100.
But did you get 10?
I got over 10. I got
there you
maybe
go.
18, 19.
Well, so if you just,
that was my expectations were a little high.
If you just search producer Jason on Facebook.
Right.
And the picture
There's quite a few producer Jasons on Facebook, but you look for the one with actually the
handle?
what do we call it? The
handle?
The photo.
Profile photo.
Profile photo just says the Rob Kendall Show, so that should be fairly easy.
I thought it was a photo
find.
of you sitting in the...
That's the other photo.
Oh,
there's two photos. There's the profile and the cover. There we go. The cover is me sitting in the old studio in my little cubby hole.
Oh, I got you. Okay, very good.
All
right. Friend Jason. Be his friend.
Continuing on. MLM Warriors. The show has started. No desk. Good luck, Rob. Oh, good luck to Rob's back. That's what it says.
I love this, not having the desk again.
Yeah, I
hope people liked it.
Yeah. There we go.
So much more comfortable today.
We could have did this originally and would have saved me a hell of a lot of work over the last 2 weeks, but I was like, Rob, you want a desk? You want to stay with the chair? I think we need to go to the desk because I want my papers and a laptop and all this stuff, and that just didn't
Trial
work.
and error.
Yeah, we
I mean, this is a casual show, right?
Yeah, it does look better like that.
Yeah.
I did adjust the camera every break.
You'll figure it out eventually.
I'm still getting it, yeah. MLM Warriors.
This chair is actually not too bad now that it's just...
I already ordered the ones
I know you did.
Wayfair.
They'll be fine for gas.
I don't know if we can return those, though, actually. I was
going to say, really?
You can return everything on Amazon, and we bought you a desk that we're sending back, and they'll come, the big, huge, heavy stuff, they'll come and pick it up, even. But I found out I'm supposed to pay postage to send those back. You can imagine how much that would cost.
We're just
keeping
Well,
them.
we're doing... We're going to be doing some other programming here in the near future.
If you'd like to come in and do a podcast and use that chair, it'll be in the corner.
That's so we'll need 3 chairs. It'll be fine.
It'll
be all right. Then, why don't you use it?
No, I have my comfortable lounge chair here.
But wouldn't that be better than a lounge chair?
No, this is nice.
Well, I guess
no. Those are too cheap. I don't like those chairs. All right, continuing on. Did I mention that MLM Warriors said at producer Jason, good job on getting plants? Thank you. Almond Joy Tempo, got my ticket to the live show. So excited.
Awesome.
No, producer Jason, I'm not hooking up with anyone.
Ah!
I didn't mean it like that. I mean, like, if you go to the show, you'll meet people that'll be new friends.
Yeah, this is not.
You may hook up. You don't know. What are you talking about, Almond Joy?
We're not. I mean, they have a bar there.
Maybe your lucky night.
They have a bar at the Mad Hatter place.
Well, it's not a bar. It's a beer line.
Well, there's a guy that serves alcohol.
It's not a well, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, well, I bar like sitting and
no. I mean, like, there's a guy that you say I want this, and he'll get it for you.
McLovins, I really don't care for the green lights. So he's a complainer.
Somebody's always got to be difficult, don't they?
That's all right. We love McLovins. There's our yellow. There's our blue. Well, that's blue-green. There's our red. That's too scarlet. Don't like that. There's the purple. Doesn't look right with the plants.
This is great for the people.
Kind of a pea yellow there. Well, that's why I'm explaining the colors.
Yeah, I was going to say this is great for the people on Apple and Spotify.
Right, I'm explaining. See
the dead air.
The green, I don't know, McLovins.
I like the green.
I like the green. The old man, this is Rob's version of Between the Ferns.
That's right.
Nicholas Kurtz at Rob Kendall. Good morning, sir. Nicholas Kurtz at producer Jason.
Oh, no.
Good morning, legend.
Oh, there we go.
I think a legend might have got more than 18 followers last night on Facebook, though.
You got to start somewhere.
Up my legendary status. Mad Duck, Angela. Yeah, the green ain't getting it. Oh, that's 2 votes against the green. Charles Ludy. George. What is it with that name? Morning, Robbleheads. Bring the heat. The 06010 board. Is that chair made out of poodle fur?
The new chairs will be much nicer.
All right. I don't think any poodles were harmed in the making of that chair.
It's very cheap, but...
See, LT Wilson, the chair rocks.
Yeah.
Desk was bad. MLM Warriors, no desk means Rob can't put a mug, pin, or action figures on it.
That's true.
C. Mills, I hope Rob doesn't mind I steal the show logo to put on a shirt.
No, do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go for it.
Make us one. The 06010 board needs shelves on that fake wall. Well, how do you know it's fake? Just because we got lines going up the middle of it. First thing Ethan noticed, like, damn, the lines. That's all right. We got plans. That's not done. It's not complete. We've got plans. Yeah. They're going to be pretty kick-ass.
And you get what you pay for.
Just wait. C. Mills. I hope Rob doesn't. Oh, okay. No, Jesus.
Are you okay?
Matt, there's so many. Mad Duck, I missed the desk.
Oh, jeez.
MLM Warriors, we can see Rob's socks. No, that was the first segment. I've moved the camera up.
Is there something wrong with my socks?
There's nothing wrong with your socks.
You just see them all the time when we do the wide shot on the interviews.
Yeah. No more socks. The old man. This is Rob's. To hell. The old man. At producer Jason, how about a side table so that Rob has a place to put his mug and action figures? We could get you a little side table there.
If we were to hit it or something, though.
Yeah, you would. Carol, 1776. Morning, all. Needs shelf behind Rob to put his action figures. Like the green. Oh, she likes the green light effects.
I have so many things I could bring in if I had a place to put them. Like a lot of stuff.
Charles Ludy, the greenery is a nice touch on the set. Debbie Holcomb, beautiful large plant. Drew, vote Libertarian. All right, let's see. Oh, the 06010 board. Did Raju pay for that chair?
I hope one of the great things out of the upcoming election is we find out exactly all the things Raju did pay for. I'm really hoping that'll be one of the great mysteries that'll be revealed. What exactly did Raju pay for?
Charles Ludy. Effing Diego. Just threw that in there. At Drew, 2 stolen plants. We paid for those plants. Theller, I dislike the LED color. LD Stoltz, I agree. It's a bit harsh. Maybe some softer light might be better. I don't know. We can probably get a little softer here. Let me. Sorry for the folks listening. Oh, there is a.
I've never. For you guys who are in the YouTube chat, I've never actually.
You know what? Look at that.
I can't see it.
Oh, you can't. That's probably better. You didn't see when I played the commercial earlier in the middle of the show, did you?
Here's my question for the people in the YouTube chat, because I've never actually YouTube chatted, because I'm always working, right? Mm-hmm. Do you guys just sit there and wait for someone, or do you do it and then I'm going to leave it up and then I'm going to go back in a little bit and see everybody and respond? Is it instantaneous? Are you there at a keyboard? Are you there at your phone? I'm curious how they do it.
I imagine a lot of them are at their keyboard just
pecking away.
Reading. So for those that may not understand what's going on here, there's a chat with this YouTube feed, and unlike most chats, we got 600, 700, 800 comments in the chat.
Very active.
Very active. It's like the show, and then there's the chat, and then there's the show and the chat.
That's why we give such a big portion. So let me explain why we decided, a couple reasons we decided to do this, but we wanted this to feel like a community. Mm-hmm. We want every person who engages with our show to feel like they're part of a community, and this is a home. Mm-hmm. And we felt sort of that was the best way to showcase these people, was to say, hey, you guys are with us all day. You have thoughts. Put them out there, and we will showcase you, because you're as much a part of the show as we are. You guys, if you weren't here, we wouldn't have a show. Your camera went off, by the way.
Okay. I'm going to make an adjustment.
So
continue on,
the
Rob.
timer. So that's why we try. Not only do we decide to read comments, period, we want to showcase it and make it an integral part of the show, because we want you guys to know how much we appreciate you and your engagement, because that so helps us grow. And this is a frickin' podcast. It's not a radio show. We can do fun stuff like this.
The camera goes off every 30 minutes if you don't hit the little shutter button. Am I back to where I was? So every 30 minutes I have to hop up and hit the shutter button on the camera. Real world problems that we have here. MLM Warriors, Diego needs to be on the Rob Kendall Show.
I got to email that dude because he's not responded to my first email. So I'm going to send, I found another email address. I'm going to send it. I'll do that today. That's my project when I get home.
LD Stoltz, if I'm honest, having worked with Diego in the past on campaigns, I've never heard him say more than, "You the man." How would he say that, Rob? We better not go there. Which is his catchphrase.
The only Diego impersonation I'll do is, "I pay."
I don't know if he knows anything about The Office.
Oh, no, he knows nothing.
That's according to somebody who's worked with him, not just somebody who hates him.
Yeah, no. Diego is an idiot. I mean, he's a complete idiot. That's I think that's what's so frustrating about all of this is, and I had this conversation with one of the delegates. He's a very connected person. And if you guys who missed early in the show, started out the show talking about conversations I've had with people who are delegates at the convention. People have contacted me, and it's always like when these people contact me, like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, I'm the most hated guy in the Republican Party. There's no one more hated than me. Mm-hmm. And these people were expressing their concerns about if Diego is nominated, which I think he will be, what that's going to mean for the Republican Party, so much so that I wrote a column about it. It's supposed to be out in Indy Star, I think, tomorrow, about what this looks like if Diego gets nominated. And one of the things that I have asked these delegates, including somebody yesterday who is super connected, I said, why does people like Rokita, Banks, these people know what human sludge Diego is? Why do they stand with him? Why do they support him? And this person said, it's the aura of inevitability that they believe that he's going to be the guy. And if they're not in it, then it's going to be all sorts of ramifications for them, presumably financially, because so much of that money that touches Diego touches all these other guys. And it's like, I just can't imagine needing money that bad that you stand behind human sludge like Diego. Like, it just blows my mind. Banks, how much money do you need, dude? You just got elected. Rokita, what are you, running for attorney general again? Like, how much money do you need, bro?
Pam Kendall, thanks to all of you for supporting Rob and Jason. I love you. We love you too, Pam Kendall. Mom Kendall.
I talked to my mom on Mother's Day. Oh, she came over on Mother's Day. And she said, I just stay out of the chat unless it's something nice to say. And I said, you should get really mean someday. Just get in there and just blow a gasket.
You ever go to your mom's house?
Yeah.
Okay, you always say she always comes to your house. You make her come to your house.
Well, Libby's there.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's just easier.
The star attraction.
I mean, she lives right around the corner, so it's not like it's she lives a long way away. But it's like I'm making her drive across several.
You want to see me? Got to come to my
several
place.
Counties. I mean, she lives 3 minutes from my house.
Shrog Sandwich. I'm catching up. I was fuming pissed on Tuesday when I had to choose between R and D before voting. I told the old gent I don't sub to either side. Don't subscribe.
Yep. That's unfortunately the primary, so you got to pick one.
Almond Joy Tempo. I like this chair better than the desk. You look much more comfortable, and it looks less formal.
Are those chairs you got, are they going to be nicer than these?
Chris Spangle Show. He stole my chair.
That is not your chair, Spangle.
No, that's a crappier chair than...
The next chairs we're getting may be more similar to your chairs.
Chris Spangle Show. And my plants.
We should point out that, look, and here's the deal, and I said this the other day. Jay Baker told me this very early on in radio. He said, Rob, plagiarism is the greatest form of flattery in our business. And so, Spangle, yes, we took many of your ideas, many of your non-copyrighted ideas, and incorporated into our set. But Spangle basically told us to do that. I think we told him we were going to do it, and he was like, that's great.
Yeah.
He's a big
Chris
fan
Spangle Show. And my lights. At Chris Spangle Show. And my brick background.
Look, Chris, here's the deal. We think the workers at the old place wanted us out of there. We felt like we had to go. We would have stayed forever, but we felt like they were anxious for us to get out of there.
They were quite. They'd give you that side eye like, yeah, how you guys doing today? Our lives would be a lot better if you weren't here.
Your friends, Spangle, they made us feel unwelcome.
At Chris Spangle Show.
I'm kidding.
They never returned the key now that you mention it. We were in a haste to get out of there. At Chris Spangle Show. I had to give them the furniture because of all the farts. Now that's just going a little too far. 06010 board. Still airing out the former studio?
What are we doing here? What do these have to do with anything? Or you're just reading down the line
Chris,
now.
we did not spin or steal your stuff.
We were supposed to find the best chats. You're just reading every chat.
This was good stuff. Okay. At Nicholas Kurtz. Oh, hold on. Let's see. I'm up here somewhere. Okay, no. Skipped one. At 06010 board. This is the best part of the chat that producer Jason just scrolls past. No, see, I read it and I got in trouble for reading it. Nicholas Kurtz. Riley's Children's Hospital is part of IU Health, and they're amazing. Talking about the health care and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I think the issue is we're showing all the money they're making, and that's when you're over a bill, when you're profiting $1 billion. That does not sound like overly nonprofit. And as Hicks exposed in that article, you guys can read it over at Indy Star, how fast and loose they're getting with what they're telling the state versus what they're reporting to the IRS.
Debbie Holcomb. Welcome to the podcast, Honeysuckle Bistro.
Oh, yes. Fine sponsor, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro Cottage. Beautiful Brazil. Great place. They're open Friday and Saturday for dinner, Sunday for brunch. This place is awesome. It's on the water. You can sit outdoors. And it's literally in the owner's home. Andy and Jody. It's their house. They've turned it into a restaurant. You've been there.
I have. You were talking about the 3 separate presidential assassination attempts.
That's right. And how some people don't believe any of them are real.
Yeah, I think what some people, if you just say, do you believe they were staged? Do you believe they were real? It's kind of an open question. I think some people think, okay, no, Trump didn't stage to have himself shot at, but like, is the Secret Service really that incompetent?
Oh.
Incredibly incompetent? Or did somebody set it up in the deep state, perhaps, so that it would happen? Because, again, when he was running for president, the complaint was, well, we don't have enough Secret Service agents. You're not special. You're just another candidate, right? But now that he's president, okay, all resources should go, the best resources, you would assume, should go to that direction. They don't seem to be with these Keystone cops that seem to be, protecting him. So I think that might be the gray area where people are like, no, Trump didn't, ask the guy to shoot at him and kill a firefighter, poor guy. But was there somebody else involved? So, but there are people who would say, no, Trump did it because he's trying to, get us off the gas prices and stuff. Now, that is a little extreme. I don't go along with that, but the other side of it, incompetence / maybe we don't put our best people out there.
Did I ever tell you my interaction with the Secret Service when I met Trump?
Oh, no.
So, I interviewed the president.
Did you?
Yeah. He said it was that's why always my favorite. I just post the photo and people are like, yes, TDS. He's a whatever. I just post the photo of us together. Trump told me it was a great dream and he wished every interview could be just like that.
Right.
So it was at the Marriott, the JW, 3rd floor. It was all, it wasn't marked, right? It's not like Trump floor, right? You got to know where you're going. There was like some sort of, as I recall, code word or something you had to give to the guy on the elevator or whatever
Big boy.
Yeah, whatever it was. And so the Trump people, you had to go give them whatever the code word was. You go up there, and then the Secret Service is there. So you sit in a little pen. It's you and the other people that are a part of the interviews, that are doing the interviews, right? Mm-hmm. And so those people then they vet you, right? They vet you, like they bring you out. They make everybody get out of the pen. Like, I'll leave all of your equipment in there. So the TV people, they're all in there, right? You're all in there. They get everybody out of the pen. They send the bomb dog in. And the bomb dog is like, sniffing around. It goes by everybody's stuff, whatever. Mm-hmm. They pat you down. They wand you while the bomb dog's going. And then he gets done, and I'm first up. They've already told you, okay, you're going in there first.
Oh, okay.
You're going to be the first guy to go because you're the only radio person.
Well, that's why he thought it was a great interview, because he had no bar to grade it on.
He got really mad at the Daily Mail guy after me. That was a pretty funny story, too.
Why can't you be as perfect as Rob?
And so the dog gets done, and I said something like the Secret Service, there's several Secret Service guys, obviously, but the guy's sitting there, and I said,
well, I'm surprised.
What's... Yeah. And you guys standing there, and I'm standing next to him, and dog leaves, and I said, boy, he must not be very well trained. He clearly missed something. And I started laughing. The guy didn't find it funny.
Right.
I said, okay, no more humor of any kind.
And that's when you got to the top of the list. Mad Duck, I'm one of those conspiracists that think they were staged too. The whole world is a stage. Robert Schwartz, they may not have been staged, but a lot of the circumstances and timing sure do have a look of suspicion. Vic Ferrari, and people still think we landed on the moon in 1969. Mad Duck.
Is he being serious?
I don't know if he's being serious. He didn't put LOL, but I'm sure. A lot of people think, and I don't know. That's one I'm probably on the fence on that. Did they have the actual technology and capability to even take a camera to space? I don't know.
Wait.
I wasn't around. I didn't.
Here's the thing about all these things being a conspiracy, though. These guys have attorneys, right?
Right. If somebody would come out.
Well, exactly. These guys who shot Trump. The one guy's dead, of course, but. They have attorneys. You think the attorney wouldn't be using that as leverage or a bargaining thing or whatever? He's part of a global conspiracy.
Now, if all the astronauts ended up, mysteriously suiciding themselves and things like that, just, back then it could be like, well, none of them are still around that were supposedly landed on the moon. Then you would have a conspiracy, but they're all still around. All those people that worked at Houston. I guess, is that where the Houston with the space station? Like, Houston, we have a problem.
I
don't know.
But
I think that's too much.
Neil Armstrong, Buzz, all these guys.
It's like the Trump conspiracy. It's like the Secret Service themselves, people probably aren't in on a conspiracy. They just said, let's hire these incompetent people or put the incompetent ones on the Trump thing. I could see that happening, but because if it was a conspiracy, everybody was set up, somebody would say, Trump set this up, or this was set up, or somebody set this up.
It's obviously not funny at all, but the idea that this kid crawled up a ladder in the building that the law enforcement was in,
to
like
setting him
cops.
up. I mean, setting him up, somebody else outside setting him up to do that. Yeah, I could believe that. Paying
so like
him,
a
and maybe it doesn't come out.
Manchurian candidate type of thing,
Yeah,
where
sure,
somebody mind manipulated him to do
all
it.
that type of. Well, not mine. These kids are crazy. I mean, they're all on drugs. Bunch of dope addicts. Courtney Hill. I think Trump was in on the correspondence attempt? No. Do I think someone in the circle was? Yes. See, that's kind of where I think that's where I would go. Mad Duck, they just made up a suicide note from Epstein last week. I didn't see that one. I think it was to distract from the whatever that hantavirus is.
Yeah.
Okay. The 0601 board. Rust should challenge Jim Lucas.
Does he live in his district? I mean, they both live in
Seymour.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's like there's two.
Maybe it's gerrymandered.
Brownsburg gets cut in half. I don't know. Seymour. It's got to be more than one Seymour district. That would be great.
All right. The live show. Oh, I'm sorry. C. Mills. The live show.
Yes.
June 27th.
That's right.
55 minutes of Jason playing music. 5 minutes of Rob.
There you go. If that's what the people want, that's what we'll give them.
This has certainly turned.
You've bought the ticket. It's your choice.
Shrog Sandwich. I need vent savvy once. I need vent savvy. Once we replace the drywall in one of the bathrooms. I'm terrified of what's behind that wall, but the money just isn't there right now to fix a whole ass bathroom.
Yeah, that's where you need vent savvy to tell you what's going on. That's what they do.
A couple people noticed the commercials have the commercial breaks have tightened up a little
bit.
Vic Ferrari. Very few commercials keep us engaged.
Well, I also need some more commercials because I'd like to eat this week. So if you know a business, a great local business that we can help promote and deliver for, sales@robkendallshow.com, sales@robkendallshow.com.
LD Stoltz, that and the other person isn't here to drone on. Jay Naw, thank God for the podcast. Shrog Sandwich, amen, Jay Naw. Jay Naw. What else we have here? Oh, MLM Warriors, WIBC letting Rob go is great for us.
I'm glad it worked out well for you.
Drew, how long before co-host Jason's segment? Again, this would have been earlier in the show. Here I am, Drew. Here for you, buddy. McLovins, I'm cleaning a house. My client has the other show on the radio. It sounds awful. I'm thankful for my earbuds. Kevin Branham, Rob.
Why aren't they listening to us?
That's what she said. Oh, I don't know. Well, McLovins, why didn't you go over there and just turn that radio off?
Well, yes.
Yeah, that'd be a little imposing. She was cleaning somebody else's house as a service, I believe.
Oh, they had the radio on at the house.
I'm cleaning a house. Keyword, my client has the other show.
Oh, you got to tell them that they can't do that anymore. You got to tell them you're not cleaning their house if they don't fix that.
Right.
You've got some power here.
Rubio and Vance, I agree with you 100%. Rubio has come out to be, I think, the top contender. I think they were going to try to groom Vance.
Yeah.
And he just comes off as like your little brother kind of guy or something. It's like, nice guy, good story, had a nice grandma, a Grammy or whatever he called her. I don't know what he called her.
Jason is, by the way, a great – there are certain people that I feel like politicians should be like taped to a chair and forced to listen to talk for – a substantial period of time. I feel like you are that person because you're not really into politics, but you vote.
So which person would I be? The one strapped in the chair?
No, you're the person telling them how you feel about things.
Oh, okay.
You're like the middle person. I feel like you're like the regular person because so often the politicians just get into whatever their bases are or Twitter or whatever. I feel like you're the guy who would just like tell you how regular people feel about things.
I feel like I take information from other people, and then I kind of go down the middle and be like, yeah, I believe that, but I don't believe that. And
right.
None of it, I can't do anything about it. I've learned in life, you can vote. It's all It's all you can do. You can watch the news, get pissed off, but you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't feel like you're super hardcore partisan. I mean, I feel like you're conservative, but you're not like uber into it like me or whatever.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Right.
No, I half the time, 5 minutes into one of your segments, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. So.
That's people need to hear that. They need to hear from people like that. That's where the
you need to hear from me. More of Jason. Shrog Sandwich. Jason hollering in the background. I didn't know they could hear me. Let's see. Okay, we probably you probably need a few minutes here, don't you, Rob?
Yeah, I need to say goodbye to everyone.
All right, man, there's so much. Today was a very good
That's
chat
why I gave you
day.
more time.
Ethan Hatcher was in here somewhere.
Yeah, Ethan was talking about how he could outdrink Bohachik or Bohachik could outdrink him, and then Ethan was indicting his own drinking. That was my favorite part.
Where is Ethan at here? At C Mills, the ballroom isn't being privately funded anymore. They lied. Now they want $1.5 billion for construction and security. The old man 68 replies to Ethan Hatcher, they are asking for federal dollars now because the Democrats sued to have the building stopped because no federal dollars were being used, only private funds that they can't control. You weren't aware of that?
Well, that's Rand Paul saying he's going to take the money out because it will not pass the parliamentarian.
Gotcha.
If you had not been out of the room, you would have known that because I talked about that at length.
Oh, did you? I had to. Yeah. Okay. Had to go do producer things at the time. Okay. By the way, real quick, producer Jason, Facebook.
Yes.
Go follow if you would. I'd like to get up to 20. Had 18 yesterday. If I can get 2 more,
perfect.
I'd be happy. And I'm playing Sunday at. I don't usually promote myself.
You promote yourself all you want. People should go see him.
Very modest, but at. Where's that at?
Chili
Water Brewing, Olive Branch Road, 135 in Greenwood. Sunday, kind of an unusual time, 4 p.m. until 7, so all the older folks can get on out there. And if you have requests, I play all the hits, guitar, singing, all that good stuff. So that would be at Chili Waters this Sunday, 4 o'clock.
I missed long-haired cowboy hat, Jason. That was my favorite version of you.
I'm, I used to wear the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Because,
with the long hair.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Oh, I did. Yeah. Okay. I had long hair down to my ass about 3 years ago. I had that COVID hair. I just let it go, and it stunk all the time.
Oh, yeah,
you just can't keep long hair. I don't know how women do it, but we're going to leave you with this. Debbie Holcomb. Gonna call Seal now. My deck needs help.
Those guys are awesome. Damon is great.
As are Black Sheep Plumbing, the sponsor of the chat today and every day, and we always appreciate it. That's going to do it for me.
All right.
So long,
you guys are awesome. Couple of reminders before we go. If you haven't done so yet, hit the thumbs up button. Liking that show really helps us, guys. Help us out. Share the feed. Tell people about us. Don't forget. Don't wait. We want to get this thing sold out as fast as possible. You can get tickets to the live show, robkendallshow.com. The link is up right there. And we got that support button up at robkendallshow.com as well. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. We will see you back here Wednesday, 9 until noon. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You're watching. You're listening to Rob Kendall Show.